Yes. So, I don't think the DEA's little cell phone stand is as good as the one I had before. In a side-by-side comparison. Also, less likely to fall over. This one seemed like it could be better because it seemed like I can get a charger in on the bottom. Yeah. But I can't get the charger in on the bottom. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't bend like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like the charger won't.
Totally break it. Or just give it enough wear over time. That guy's late.
Yeah, he said he's gonna be here right at 6:30.
Disappointing.
No, I know. Like when he hangs out ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, I'm used to him getting here before me sometimes.
Yeah. It's definitely when I'm across the hall taking my pre-shift.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm like, fuck! I'm not even done yet, man.
Well, it's gonna be in person. This show, already.
I got in the show.
Okay.
So it's gonna go cuts 16 and 17.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Holiday's cut in the next segment.
Yeah, which is like a 2-minute long cut, but that's okay.
When do you want the Mets cut? Is that just after?
In sports. Yeah.
Sports? Okay. And then what about Trip Mickle?
Trip Mickle's gonna wait till Monday. He's an author who wrote a book.
Put that in the next one for you.
Yeah. It was supposed to be this morning, but I filled up on guests.
What's Monday's date?
What?
What is Monday's date?
Today's the 6th?
Yeah.
Thanks. Huh?
Is that a thing?
Like a live read?
Yeah, there's no way it is, but it's in the exact position where live read should be.
No, I don't have Weiler. I'd like to have Weiler. Sponsor my school thing.
Yeah, the first live read you have is at 7-Eleven. It's returns. You want to just be like, nah, I got this.
.606 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you. Jake producing. Let's get it going on a good what's going to map out to be just a great Friday. Rain looks like it's done. You just heard the forecast from Marissa Nuzzo. Rain looks like it's done. Actually, technically, what she said was the chance of severe rain is done. If I could revise and extend those remarks, we're not completely out of the woods as far as any precipitation would be concerned. There is a minimal, and I do mean very, very minimal chance, 20% chance, that we're going to see a little bit more throughout the morning drive this morning. So, that being said, everything that whipped through last night is over with. And oh boy, did it whip through last night. Lots of thunders and lightnings last night. Anyway, we are poised to be off and running for what should stack up to being a glorious day. 88 degrees your high. We got a busy guest list today. Haggai Davis going to be in for a cup of tech gumbo at 6:35. Looking forward to that. We've got a lot of ground to cover with Haggai, not the least of which is a space hotel. Yeah, that's on the docket for today. It's actually slated to open in about 3 years. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser is going to join us at 7:15. Talk about Tourism Week. It's wrapping up right now. If you've seen the Lieutenant Governor on the news basically every day, and his schedule has been redonkulous. In fact, I'm hoping he's on the phone at 7:15 and not just taking a nap. And if he is taking a nap, I don't blame him. He's been moving a lot. Heather Johnson from Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center is going to join us at 7:35. They've got the Live Well Baton Rouge event coming up next weekend. We're just getting an early look at it heading into this weekend. The Live Well Baton Rouge event, I believe it used to be called Fest for Life. It's basically all the screenings you can have thrown at you under at one event. That's coming up at 7:35. 8 o'clock hour. I'm looking forward to this one a lot. Robyn Lott from the Baton Rouge Zoo is going to join us. Their Wild Wine Walk is just a couple weeks away. Tickets are still available. I'm using the opportunity to promote the Wild Wine Walk to get an update from Robyn about the construction of the zoo overall. You know, they're flipping the zoo around, moving the entrance from the side that it's on, the Thomas Road side, to the Greenwood Park side. And it's a fantastic idea. It's going to make the zoo and the park combined that much more attractive. So I want to know where we're at with that. So if I got to, we'll talk a little bit about the Wild Wine Walk, but that conversation is going to shift to the construction of the zoo very, very quickly. Then we're going to round things out with Michelle Southern. You know her from Eagle 98.1 and also the Only in Louisiana podcast. Her new season is off and running. We had her on last week to talk about Garth Brooks. We've got her on this week to talk about a different musician, and that is the only tease. I'm going to give zero spoilers there. Plus, top stories and trending, the outside in, this day in history. You know how we do it. I do want to lead off this morning by taking about 60 seconds with one of yesterday's big stories. It happened during the show yesterday. I found out after the show it was actually in our 8:30 news. Nick Toulier passed away yesterday. Sheriff's deputy who, for lack of better phrasing, spent the last 6 years in hospitals. He was one of the law enforcement officers who was shot in that ambush back in July of 2016. Yesterday, a very stark reminder of that day. I'll never forget that day. It was a Sunday morning, and crazily enough, we were on our way to church. And I remember we came, so we live in Sherwood Forest, but our church is Our Lady of Mercy. So going from Sherwood to Mercy means you head up Goodwood till you get over by Independence and you cut over to Government Street, right? We were at the red light at the corner of Goodwood and Airline. That is also the same corner where Baton Rouge Police Headquarters is. That is also the same corner where multiple protests were held in the months leading up to that, following Alton Sterling's killing. And it's just a quiet and calm Sunday morning. And as we got to that red light, it started with some guy in a beat-up truck. Had nothing to do with the entire situation. But when you don't know what's going on and you don't know what's going on and you think you see something, you draw conclusions. Some guy in a beat-up truck ran the red light. And one BRPD unit went taking off after him. Or so I thought. He passed the guy up, almost immediately. But at first, that's what it looked like. Got him, right? Guy runs a red light, BRPD's right there, boom, got him. Then a second unit, a third, a fourth, a fifth. All total, in the 60 seconds that we were sitting at that red light, there were, I want to say it was close to 10 units popping out from BRPD headquarters, heading up towards that Be Quick, where everything went down. Deputy Toulier, Nick Toulier's passing yesterday, just a very stark reminder of how real and how tragic that morning was. Toulier, not the only one to lose his life, just the latest to lose his life. Montrell Jackson, Matthew Gerald, and Brad Garofola also dying on that day. It's a very, very sad reminder of a very, very sad day. Held on for 6 years. Also, equally incredible. All right, we got a break. When we come back, we got a lot of ground to cover in sports, so let's get after it. Sports time coming up next on Talk 107.3 FM. Ooh, scusi. Yeah. The BRCC, well, there's no audio. That might roll over to the next segment if we run out of time here. The BRCC regional might roll over to the next segment. You don't have to worry about it because there's no audio that goes along with it. 617 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. It is sports time. Looking ahead towards postseason baseball already. We're not there yet. Still got a couple weeks. Actually, a couple weeks to make up more ground. But we are on track to see, projected right now by D1 Baseball, 4 Louisiana schools making the postseason. D1 predicting McNeese and Lott Tech will join LSU and Baton Rouge for a regional. Who else did they have going? I'll get back around to that. Kendall Rogers is the managing editor for D1Baseball.com. He says they're in position. LSU is in position to host a regional for the 27th time in program history.
I think the biggest series here as of late is just taking care of business against Georgia. So I think the schedule sets up well, and I think if this team can get to, I don't know, if this team can get to 17 wins in conference, I think they're hosting.
LSU's offensively been no problems this year, right? We've been tracking that throughout. The pitching has been a work in progress, but continually improving. The defense, it's like Jaws 2, just when you thought it was safe to get back in the water, right? But if they can get a little more consistency down the stretch, this is a team to look out for.
The pitching staff, that was kind of the question mark earlier in the season. And granted, I don't think it's like a done deal with this pitching staff. The last few weeks, is this team is pitching at least a little bit better, and just a little bit better with the offense that this team has is good enough.
LSU baseball will be at Alabama this weekend, 6 p.m. Your first pitch tonight over on Eagle 98.1. Pregame will start at 5:30. Softball will be at Mississippi State this weekend, 6 p.m. first pitch right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Patrick Wright will be on the call there. Moving from college baseball to the pro ranks, but sticking with a former LSU Tiger. Aaron Nola went 7 innings last night for the Philadelphia Phillies. He gave up just 3 hits, gave up just 1 run. It was a home run in the 6th. He struck out 7. Heading into the 9th, the Phillies were up 7-1. The Phillies scored 4 runs in the 1st, another run in the 2nd, 2 more runs in the 4th. Heading into the top of the 9th, it was 7-1. What can go wrong, right? The Mets would basically have to bat around. Well, Sterling Marte led off the inning with a hit and basically came back up a second time within that same inning.
At the plate. And Starling unloads one, deep left center. Back to the warning track goes Herrera, near the wall. It's off the base. Here's Nimmo around third. He'll come in to score, and the Mets take the lead. Unbelievable!
I love baseball!
Starling Marte with his 3rd consecutive hit drives in the go-ahead run with
a 7-run comeback in the 9th to win at 8-7. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's 2 minutes. It's whoever's in that day. Renee says, I would not say he held on for 6 years, but he did, Renee. Oh, man, I don't know if I can walk down that path. I hear you. Morning, Renee. Morning, Clint. Morning, Eric. Morning, Christy. Although texting back and forth with my wife this morning, I don't think she's going to be in YouTube for a minute. Oh, I know. Oh, no. Just open up the YouTube and leave it running. I need the numbers. Now, Eric says, what were the odds in the Mets winning? I want to say that at the time, Philly was like a minus 15,000. So it'd be 1,500 to 1. I could be wrong about that. .624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolls right along. Eric asks on YouTube, what were the odds on the Mets winning it at that point? I don't want to say them on air because I think I'll probably be wrong, but I want to say at that point when you got to the ninth, the Phillies. No, actually, you know what? It was off the board. You couldn't bet on it at that point. I do know that after the first inning, when the Mets went down 4-0, I put in a live bet on my DraftKings app. Because the Mets were getting 4.5 runs, and I'm like, bro, they're not losing by 4.5 runs. There's no way the Mets lose this by 5. And then it turned 5-0, and I'm like, ooh, that money's not safe. And then it turned 7-0, and I'm like, ooh, that's really not safe. And then 7-1, and I'm like, yeah, a little bit better. Paid. Plus 4.5 paid. But no, I have no idea what the odds were in the 8th, and I knew it was off the board by the 9th. So, hey, that's not the only baseball we had to talk about. I've got a lot more to. We're going to get back around the news in just a minute. I've got one more on the baseball front. If you're looking to attend some baseball this weekend, I know LSU's out of town. I know if you're looking from a softball front, LSU's out of town. But can I interest you in some junior college baseball? From our news partners at WBRZ, after having their hosting duties deferred in 2021, BRCC is back as the host of the Region 23 tournament at Pete Goolsbee Field starting this afternoon. A limited field includes just 3 teams, Nunez Community College, Delgado Community College, and BRCC. So you can go out there and for the whole, for the triple header today, it's just $15. In and out, unlimited re-entry. Same thing tomorrow, same thing for Sunday. All games are 9 innings except for run rules will apply. But if you were to go out there today, starting at noon, I know, cut out early, right? It's Friday. Cut out at noon, see Nunez Community College against BRCC, then Nunez versus Delgado, and then the night would wrap up with BRCC and Delgado. It's quite a day of baseball right there. And, oh, by the way, setting the tone for Pete Goolsbee Field as we're going to have the Rougarou in tow in short order. So, but tomorrow would be The 1-1 team versus the 2-0 team. If the 2-0 team wins, they're the champions there. I'm sorry. There's different scenarios for the way this plays out tomorrow. If any of these teams are 0-2, that team's eliminated. If all three teams are go on. If all three teams are 1-1, that's how they'll play it. And then Sunday, it depends on the winners of the games as well to determine who's winning and who's moving on. But you got yourself a nice little round robin today. I mean, if you're going to cut out of work, that'd be a heck of a fun time, right? Go see the first two games, or the first game and then the first half of the second game. Then cut over to Live After 5, because it's the last weekend to Live After 5. Catch the first set from Chris LeBlanc Band, and then head back to Pete Goldsby for the nightcap, BRCC versus Delgado. That's a heck of a night right there. All right. Back to the news front. We had Paula Davis on the show yesterday, and I want to make sure I've got enough time for this cut, but I got to set it up. We spend a lot of time during the legislative session focused on things that don't have a whole lot of impact in our state. And we miss out on a lot on the economic development front, the education front, the infrastructure front. This was part of the conversation that I had with Paula Davis yesterday.
Right. You have to start thinking the bigger picture, and you have to start thinking the long game. And I think way too often we think in little bits. We don't think this is a marathon. A lot of us think just immediately and in the moment. Mm-hmm. And also, it was very interesting. I had a conversation with another legislator recently who attended a very conservative think tank's meeting a couple of months ago. And they said, this is very interesting. It's a conservative group who said, the problem with Louisiana is we focus way too much on national political issues and social issues and not enough on what is going to bring jobs here, what is going to keep people here, why do companies want to locate here, how do we, for instance, my daughter's in Charleston, South Carolina. Rather than staying at LSU, going to LSU New Orleans for occupational therapy school, she chose Charleston, South Carolina. How do we keep our young people here?
How do we do that? Now, when you run with those national bills on a local level, you get the headlines, right? We've talked about them right here. We had our own version of the quote-unquote don't say gay bill, which I know doesn't say don't say gay anywhere in it. We had our own version of that. We had our transgender athletes bill. And you can run all these bills out there, and you can have a take on them one way or the other. And I'm not saying they're not important topics to cover, but number one, who do you think is going to be more affected? The number of people who will sit there in traffic trying to cross the Mississippi River Bridge today, or the number of people who would be affected by having a transgender teacher go off script and spend all their time talking about being transgender? I'm not saying I'm for or against any bill, because you got to read the individual bill, right? I'm just saying we're not keeping our eye on the ball when it comes to the big pictures. More than that, more than any one individual social issue that likes to divide us, there were upwards of 1,500 bills in a non-fiscal session. 1 month to go on the legislative session. All right, quick break, coming back with a cup of tech gumbo next. Sorry, I saw your text right as we were coming back in.
I knew it was going to happen. I was trying to get here.
All good. Oh. Because we got tracks over here, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Trying to time it to get here between.
Yeah. And I ran long in sports, as I seem to do every friggin' day, because I just yap. Last night was a beautiful example why baseball, in spite of themselves, will always be a beautiful sport. It will be a relevant sport in spite of itself. Mets game. Don't you come up in here talking about the Phillies. Yeah, no.
I don't really care for either team, so it doesn't matter to me.
I am a lifelong Mets fan.
I'm a lifelong Astros fan.
Okay. Proximity?
Yep. I used to go to the games. We used to go every year, 2-3 games a year, and then go to Astro World.
It is Oh, you would go in the old Astrodome days, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh.
If I want to take a shot at your age, I'll ask if you like the Colt 45s.
I want to say my dad took us to a Colt 45 game.
No, you're not that old.
I'm 60 years old. The Astros didn't start being the Astros until 68, 69, 67.
They were the Astros already when. Yeah. I'm trying to think of. I put things in baseball card terms, so I'm trying to. Let's Google this. They have answers here.
Yes.
Houston Colt 45s. Who, by the way, won last night 3-2. The Colt 45s were an expansion team the same year the Mets were. So, 1962.
That's when they started.
Yeah.
In 65, they changed the name to the Astros.
Okay.
So, no, I probably didn't go then.
Yeah.
But we went to my dad, because my dad was in oilfield sales, we were going every summer to Houston. He'd go see clients.
Yeah.
He'd leave us at a hotel, and he'd go do some business. When the Astro World was there, we would go to the Astro World.
It's about the time that Houston was raiding Morgan City for all the oil, right?
Oh, no.
A little bit before it?
Well, I mean, Houston was sending their employees to Morgan City.
Right. And not bringing all the employees back home and half of Morgan City with it.
Mid-80s.
Yeah. Byron says, speaking of gambling, I don't want to brag, but I bought a stock day before yesterday, and yesterday it made 44 cents.
Dude.
Bro, don't spend it all in one place, man. Wait till you hear that jobs report at 9. You need to hang on to that money.
Warren Buffett wants some tips from you, bro.
Right.
Did you put all your money in Twitter?
That's. I might buy a Twitter right now.
If you still can.
Why, has he made it private yet? Doesn't that take a minute?
Yeah, it does, but it's I don't know what they're doing to the stock.
Yeah. Renee says, I grew up an Astros fan also. Okay, so yes, if you are in Southeast or South Louisiana at all, you were a fan of one of 3 teams. Astros for proximity, Braves for TBS, Cubs for WGN. It was either the team you could drive to see or the 2 teams you could watch on television regularly.
And you didn't get the Cubs until the 80s. You got the Braves in the late 70s.
Okay.
And so if you were my age, you didn't have either of them.
It's happening.
T-Bob, you didn't have either the Braves or the Cubs when I was a little kid. I mean, that happened to me right as I'm graduating high school and could care less at that point.
So I was born in 76, meaning I'm basically a child of the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, right? Well, in 1986 or so, 10-year-old Brian playing Little League Baseball at Harbor Field in Mandeville, when we weren't playing at Father John Field like 4 blocks over, my whole world was basketball and baseball, right? All of my friends were either Cubs fans or Braves fans. I am, by my very nature, a contrarian. So, which team am I going to like? And the Mets were there for me. And the Mets won the World Series that year. So I was a 10-year-old bandwagon Mets fan in 1986. But I earned my stripes because I stuck with them all through the 90s.
And see, my brother has been a lifelong Steelers fan because they were winning
Iron Curtain,
Bowls, when in the 70s, and I mean
Terry Bradshaw.
Richard was born in 68, so
yeah,
that puts him 10 years old. Richard being a Steelers fan,
Immaculate Reception,
all of the
Franco Harris, Lynn Swann, the whole
and so of course I was a Saints fan because
they're here.
They were here,
and it was it's natural when they're within your state and within your region. It gets a little wonky if you're from the Shreveport area, and you got. But that's so.
Shreveport has always been a Cowboys fan up until recently,
which is just self-loathing to me. Anybody who's not from Dallas that would actively be a Cowboys fan, But if you're in Shreveport and you grew up in the 60s.
Texas. Shreveport
No,
is East
I know.
Texas.
I know. Well, don't tell Jake. Not this Jake. Don't tell other Jake.
I know. Well,
Don't tell
because
Hester.
That happened later on in life.
Right. But that's the thing, though. As the Saints got good, if you grew up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, were you even going to consider being a Saints fan because they sucked? If everybody is wearing Schwagman's bags on their heads and you're from the exact equal distance away and you're a lot less Catholic, a lot more Methodist.
The Cowboys were winning while we had bags
Right.
on our heads. In the
Right.
the
You
dome.
had Tom Landry. This should be the right one. Chuck said he loaded it in so we could be fixed forever. It is time for a cup of tech gumbo. It is time to welcome in Haggai Davis. What's happening?
I'm here for another great day.
I'm telling you, man. The conversation we were having to the break, I almost don't want to talk technology. If you're not watching on YouTube, we were talking about baseball during the break, and so the backstory here: I'm a lifelong Mets fan, and the Mets pulled off what amounted to the biggest comeback in franchise history last night. Down 6 heading into the ninth. They batted around in the ninth. Sterling Marte with 2 hits in the ninth. Mets win 8-7, but you were a lifelong Astros fan.
That's right.
That's awesome.
I remember going. My dad was in oil field, and we would always go at least 2-3 times a summer to Houston.
Yeah.
Dad would go do business. We would go to Astroworld, and then that night we'd watch an Astros game. So we were going to the Astrodome.
Astrodome. Okay, so I got to go to the Astrodome once. I went to Enron once too. Now it's Minute Maid, but when I went it was Enron. But I didn't even see a baseball game in Enron. I saw a Jim Rome tour stop.
Ugh.
That was a lot of fun.
I bet.
Yeah. We do have a lot of technology news to talk about. I got to start with Google. The headline reads, "You can now ask Google to take your personal data out of its search results." Haggai, there's an old phrase that says you can wish in one hand and you know what in the other, and you tell me which one fills up first. Is that where this is?
So last week we were talking about the European Union's Digital Services Act, where they just 2 weeks ago passed a law that said in the European Union, the laws are much more restrictive now about advertising and what they can advertise to you, how they can advertise to you, and if you want to opt out of being tracked for advertising, you can do so. And they've had the GDPR in Europe since 2018, I think, and so that legislation was the beginning of data privacy rights. So now this Digital Services Act has really taken digital privacy to a whole nother level, but that's in the European Union. We have nothing like that here in the United States.
Right.
But Google is at least smart enough to where they're looking over the horizon saying, okay, if we're going to do it there, eventually we're going to have to do it in the United States too. At some point, somebody's going to get together and figure out we want some privacy.
Okay. Is Google... Here comes my cynicism.
Mm-hmm.
Is Google actually going to take your privacy seriously,
Yes.
or are they searching for a better way to pillage your information without you knowing it?
They're still going to scrape your data.
Mm-hmm.
It's not retaining your data anymore.
Well, then what's the point of scraping it?
Because they're keeping it for a week or two to build your continue your profile, and but they're not going to be making advertising decisions towards your profile based upon data from a month ago or a year ago or 5 years ago. It's what's been going on recently. So your profile will be changing a lot more based upon what your whims are, what you're searching on doing things like that now. So it's there's DoubleClick's not going away, and all the advertising, all the trackers that are on your browsers, it's still there.
Okay.
But it's what happens with the data. Okay, you search for a pair of basketball shoes or something like that, and then it starts popping up in your ads and on Amazon and everything. With Google, a month from now, they won't remember that you were looking for basketball shoes.
Which is both a positive and a negative from a consumer standpoint.
It's a first step for those who are very, very concerned about their digital privacy rights, and but if you're a guy who's now 60 years old and you don't want to see feminine hygiene products in your advertising, because when you opt out of everything, then they just start putting random ads on your computer. It's back to watching broadcast TV ads,
right?
And you're just whatever they want to throw, they're going to, because you're still going to have ads. Mm-hmm. That's not going away. It's whether or not you want the ads focused to what you're interested in.
But okay, so this is where we get into a generational gap a little, because there's the difference between the same generation. Let's just go your generation versus my generation. Yeah. The same generation that doesn't want to be tracked also wants to be catered to. You can't have it both ways.
Absolutely.
Now, my generation and younger than me, I would argue, understands the game going in a lot more. I know that every time I pick up my phone, I'm being tracked. I know that by having a phone, I'm being tracked. I walk in with that understanding that I don't feel like I have a right to privacy with anything online.
And to even go, to my oldest son's, who's 28, almost 29, that generation, he's very much okay, give me ads. Fine, give me the ads that you want to
You want to better serve me than better serve me. Sure, have at it.
And I would rather, Google not know who I am. But then again, I understand, because I don't want to see makeup advertising.
Right.
I'd rather see Ford pickup trucks.
I get more ads in Spanish now. It's weird. I don't speak Spanish. I feel like you should learn Spanish just because I get the ads in Spanish.
That's fascinating.
Right?
What have you been clicking on?
I think it's my zip codes. Yeah. Look, where I'm at in Sherwood, if I pop out the Florida Boulevard, just north of Florida Boulevard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I can't refute what you're saying, because the algorithms that the big companies use is so deep. I mean, they know so many things about you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where they know what your signature looks like. They know how you.
I don't know, but my signature with a pen versus my signature with my finger are two different things.
When if you've ever scanned your signature and stuck it on something and emailed it, they know your signature.
I don't know that. I'm trying to. Now, I'm sorry. I'm jogging through my memory.
They know how these companies know how you use your mouse.
Nope.
How well you click. Do you move it around a lot, or you just casually? They know how you click your keyboard. They know how are you a fast typer? Do you pause in words? All of these things they're tracking, and they're building profiles based upon the way you use your computer, not just what you're searching.
Okay. Can you jam up that algorithm by maybe only typing left-handed once in a while?
You probably
Can I throw them off the scent by signing for things with my right hand?
Might if that's what you're up for. I mean, but you'd have to do a lot of it.
Yeah. Because
they've got a long profile of what you're doing and how you're doing it.
We got to take a quick break here. When we come back from the break, we got more topics to talk about. Not the least of which is Space Hotel. I love Space Hotel as well. So we're going to dive into, we're going to make our reservations for right after the break. Let's check traffic. Let's check your money now. Cup of Tech Gumbo will continue next. Presented by Hilton in Space on Talk 107.3.
Well, if you remember 2001 Space
You sent me the picture in the email. Of
Yes.
course. It was the Hilton Space Station or whatever.
Yeah, the Space Hilton.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot. I'd had a couple of glasses of Jameson last night.
Oh, nice. I think I'll be having a few glasses of tequila tonight.
Yeah, so Monday, these two legs will be the same size.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're going to take, the estimate right now is still...
Sorry. Look at T-Bob. It's so good. The whole pairing of these two.
T-Bob
And Moscona's like Droopy Dog, or the and what's funny though, you remember that Looney Tunes cartoon where you had the big bulldog and the little dog?
Yeah.
Hey Spike, what are we doing, Spike? What are we doing, Spike? T-Bob is the little bouncy dog, and Moscona is the big, but they're role reverse size wise.
In the T-Bob Scone they did with the Star Wars costumes the other day.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Oh, you got.
I produced that show. It's definitely one of the highlights of my early career. He shows up in a
And
full
the-
Imperial Guard outfit that is a
Moscona.
Moscona did?
Yeah, he walks out from the back to the Imperial March, just completely like he's walking out like the Undertaker.
What the shit?
Oh.
Moscona did.
Yeah,
This goes against every fiber of his being.
precisely why it was so viewable.
Holy crap. Good for him. I'm proud of my boy.
So you get T-Bone. Moscona was talking about it yesterday on a show. Right now, he's purposely standing outside putting this costume on. And T-Bob has no clue as to what's going on. And so here he's about to walk in. And just doesn't say a word. He stays here for a few minutes. This is great.
Oh, this is brilliant.
So the guy who owns the bar, Matt,
Yeah.
bought the costume
Just for this.
just for this. And like this is so he's sitting here waiting for T-Bob to grab this bottle of booze, and he's got both hands full, and watch what he does and T-Bob plays along with it perfectly.
He still hasn't talked.
He's holding on to the bits.
Embrace the silence. See, this is one of the reasons why Matt's so good. Embrace the uncomfortable.
Matt was saying he was waiting for him until he had both hands full and couldn't do anything.
Yes.
And then he went with the lightsaber and slowed.
Oh, God bless. That is the best.
Isn't that amazing? Jake, were you just losing it watching it? Did you know?
Absolutely reveling.
Did you have any clue what was going on? Did you were in on it?
I knew about it like a week prior.
Oh, okay.
I made sure not to tell T-Bob or anything because obviously
Oh.
you want that reaction to be valid.
Absolutely.
He didn't know for like a hot minute.
No, it wasn't.
All right. Sorry, YouTube. We were distracted that entire time. Check out the latest scone and tea.
Well worth every minute of it. Just even if you just stick with just the first 5 minutes of it.
All right. Oh, hang on. Byron has a good point about the whole Cubs, Braves, Astros. Only the Cubs had Harry Carey. Hey! That's 100% right. With the little bull in front of him for Leon Durham.
But the Saints had Wayne Mack and Danny Abramowitz with the
that was
glasses.
Before my time.
That was you could hear the cubes tinkling in the glass as they were drinking vodka on the rocks. Even though Danny is a very, very devout Christian now.
Really?
Oh yeah, he cleaned up and very, very Catholic.
You know, you can drink heavily and still be a devout Christian.
No, but he was. They were really bad off in those games.
The Last Supper. Jesus said, "I won't sip of the vine until I meet my Father in heaven." He kind of knew he was dying the next day. So, was that really that big of a promise?
I might ask Father Trey that one.
Don't tell him where you got it.
Oh yeah, let me tell you what those mercy folks are learning.
I mean, but if you know you're dying the next day, what are you really giving up? 653 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. I forgot where we were. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gumbo rolling right along. And so the break there. Oh my word. Yeah, all over the place. Okay, we got a lot more ground to cover here, and I've got to sift through a number of NASA stories to get to the one that I'm actually looking for. Here it is. Inside the Space Hotel, scheduled to open in 2025, waking up in a chic hotel room with a view of the solar system could be the future of travel. At least if space company Orbital Assembly has anything to say about it. The U.S.-based company has revealed new information and concepts for its space hotel idea, designs for which have been orbiting since 2019. Designs are out there already?
Oh, absolutely. They're saying they're going to be open in 2025.
I don't believe them.
Well,
there's not enough market to warrant a hotel right now. You could barely have a space Airbnb right now.
The idea that you're going to get 28 people up to a space hotel in 3 years,
right,
is it's just silly. But the bigger they're also talking about having a hotel capable of holding 400 people by 2027, which is, so we were talking about, as we were recording the show, we were talking about the fact that if you've got 400 people, and probably you can maybe get 20 people at a time on a rocket going up.
Right.
You can't get 400 people on a 747 to go from here to California.
Right.
How many launches per day are you going to have shuttling 20 people at a time and bringing 20 people back down?
20 is the answer to that question. I mean, like,
well, you're not changing over the hotel every day. You're going
I'm saying in order to fill the hotel would take 20 trips back and forth.
Yeah, just to bring 20 up.
Right.
But that means you're launching awful lot of rockets to keep this. Now, if you're going up, are you going to go up for a month? Are you going for a week? I mean, you're not going overnight. It's not a Holiday Inn Express you're staying at. This is the Space Hilton from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Exactly. And they're damn well better be the best amenities ever. And I'll tell you this, too, Haggai, and this is probably my biggest concern about the whole thing, is even in zero gravity, my waffle would still stick to the waffle iron.
It would.
I fail every time. I get 3/4 of a waffle and leave this awful.
It would just kind of
sticky paste on the bottom.
You just kind of spin once it comes off the iron, you can just spin it and just take bites and
out of midair.
How cool would that be?
That would be awesome.
But the fact that these folks within 5 years think they're going to have a hotel assembled with enough capacity for 400 people. And it's not supposed to be for the uber wealthy either. It's supposed to be affordable to a lot of people. Now, again, if you go back and do the math on what SpaceX is, it costs $209 million every time they send a rocket up right now.
Right.
Which is way down from what it used to cost NASA when they had to rebuild a new rocket every time. They're reusing the same booster every time. So it's still at $200 million. That, if you're going to spread that over 20 people to get up there, that's a lot of money.
$200 million per trip. If it takes 20 trips, you're talking about $4 billion to fill the hotel.
And so the
And
numbers
that's not
don't
counting
work.
housekeeping.
And that's not the staff, exactly. I mean, it because you can't just, hey, I'm going to hop down to Chili's right down the street or the IHOP next door.
Right.
It's just, you've got to stay on. You can't go for a walk outside the space station. Very
Exactly.
easily.
So aside from the wonderful views, which I'm sure I would get a space side, not an Earth side, because then what are you going to look at?
It'll be constantly spinning. It'll change over.
That's
and over.
true.
To have gravity where it'll be in a centrifugal. So if you're down in the middle, you'll be floating. But you're in your room, you'll be standing on the floor just like always.
Yeah. Aside from the view, you're not getting much out of the experience.
That's if 2001: A Space Odyssey was correct.
Well, okay.
Because if the centrifugal force spins like that and holds you to the
I
ground.
just assumed their science was correct. Maybe I'm wrong. So, when they talk about not the uber wealthy, what kind of numbers are we talking about per trip or per, like, if I want to book my family vacation, family of 5, we want to go to Space Hotel for God knows why, because of the fitness center and the business center.
I can't imagine it's under $100,000.
Right. So how is this not for the uber wealthy?
I don't get it. I mean, and maybe they think $100,000 is not a lot of money.
Right.
I don't know. I don't. We tried to do some numbers. We tried to crunch through just how much it would cost, and it just didn't make sense to not be okay. If I'm going to drop, I'll drop $1 million, but to go to the hotel. If I had $1 million, I mean,
That's the thing, though. The number of millionaires in this country continues to grow, but the number of people who can drop $1 million is still not
right.
this number. So
if you sell, several thousand or million shares of Tesla to be able to buy Twitter, instead of buying Twitter, you could go to the Space Hotel.
there's definitely a gap in understanding there. What else is coming up on the show this week?
Oh, we're going to talk about that. We're going to have Don Monaster, the General Informatics CEO. He's our guest.
Cool.
We're also going to talk about getting the autocorrect on your smartphone, how to fix that,
Okay.
and a few other things.
Saturday and Sunday at 4, right here on Talk 107.3 FM and anywhere you get your podcast. He's Haggai Davis. Appreciate you, man.
You bet. Of course, Saturday's going to be a softball game. So
Is it? I thought softball was early.
First pitch is 2:00.
Oh.
So
Back half will be available. Softball games have been running 2 hours.
have they really?
Yeah. They've been booking it.
That's because they're only 7 innings.
Yeah, and Beth's got some good pitching. They had to drink. The Saints were terrible, Debbie says. Byron says, I heard NASA will require guests to spend a week at the Oyo Hotel in Baton Rouge. Mostly to get you used to putting your life in danger while in a hotel. Hey, that guy's been arrested. Everyone should feel safer now.
The viruses floating through the Oyo didn't kill him, so he's good for the space station.
Right.
The radiation will kill off anything. The radiation you're going to get in space is going to kill off all of the disease you might have picked up at the Oyo.
Will the Space Hotel still drape the toilet seat with the paper, Miss America sash? Whatever happened to that a minute? Yeah. When the hotels have put the little paper thing to let you know they've cleaned the toilet seat, like, this thing's been cleaned since ass cheeks have touched it. That doesn't mean you've cleaned it. It just means you put a sweet little piece of paper over it.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And will you still have the little mint of chocolate floating in the middle of the room above the bed?
Oh, yes. So, having worked at a hotel, and I worked at a hotel that no longer exists in Baton Rouge, we had so many, like a limited service hotel. We weren't a big convention hotel. We had convention space. We had a number of meetings, banquets, weddings. Comfort Inn off of Acadian Thruway.
Oh, yeah.
It went on to become a Radisson, and then it was the Pineapple for so many years when they were redoing the outside, and it was just yellow and had the spikies. So I worked there for 4 or 5 years, 3-4 years, as a sales coordinator, then a sales manager. I've seen some shady shit go down. We had someone performing abortions in a room. 2 a week for over a month before we finally were able to track down who it was. and what they were doing, and had them arrested. Yeah, it was the first time a housekeeper goes in and just finds the bloody sheets everywhere. But 3 days off, comes back, second time. We don't know. Person checked in with cash. Our night auditor doesn't know, blah, blah, blah. It was in the second week that the night auditor was told to look out for this guy's name. By that time, he was using a different name. And then we finally were able to match with security footage based off of the time of check-in and whatnot. Yeah. Abortions in a room. And by the way, isn't all this argument about Roe v. Wade over the fact that abortions need to be safe? Yeah, well, under the way the law was, they were still performing them in a frickin' hotel room. We also had a general manager who was equal. How do I say this without sounding? He was equal parts flamboyant and from Destrehan.
Okay.
We had brand new marble floors put in. Somebody, the neighborhood that's behind there. Somebody got shot in the neighborhood behind us. Climbs the fence into our parking lot, stumbles into our lobby. The general manager comes out, goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Get him out of here! You're gonna bleed all over my floors." They took him back outside so he could bleed all over the parking lot till EMS got there. And then the general manager goes, "Don't use the good towels." Yeah, he was awesome. I liked him. I wonder what happened to him. He's a good dude.
So next week,
yeah, you're out next week.
Yeah, so they're gonna two pull. No, sit on the backside, and they're gonna.
Your right leg's gonna be a colander. So next week is Holy Week.
As much they measured it out, calculated I had 4 extra liters of fluid in my right leg.
Good Lord, man. That's a lot of juice.
Yeah. So
You're gonna lose weight.
I'm gonna lose about.
That's 10 pounds. Yeah.
So I gotta stay in the hotel.
Hi.
Come just do something with him, please.
Why?
Entertain him for like 2 minutes.
I'm on the air in a minute. I'll come down during the next break. You got it.
So, but I'll be in the hospital bed until Wednesday.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Friday, I'm definitely out. And the following week, I may not be able to drive yet. So I may have to call.
That's fine. That's fine. We got you covered.
I know.
You take care of it.
I know. But I will be.
Well, good luck to you, because that's not going to be easy.
Oh, it's going to be easy for me just to lay there.
Well, yeah.
Have a good weekend.
Later, Haggai. .706 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Thanks again to Haggai Davis for popping in for a cup of tech gumbo. Good stuff. Space Hotel. I mean, look, I know Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser has been pounding the pavement all week long for Louisiana Tourism Week, and I wish him the best. But as soon as that Space Hotel opens up, you know it's going to be followed by space conventions. Space Jazz Fest. Like, once this door is open, they're going to turn space into actual tourism. I don't think anybody's going to be able to afford it, but you know it's going to be out there. Anyway, a lot of fun. Speaking of Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser and Tourism Week, that's what's coming up next. Our next segment, we will have Billy Nungesser on to talk about Tourism Week and all the efforts that have gone on this past week. Now, you look at last week versus this week. last weekend versus this weekend in Louisiana. Last weekend was like quintessential Louisiana weekend. You had too much going on at once. Lafayette had Festival International. New Orleans had Jazz Fest. We had Garth Brooks. We also had a handful of Catholic schools having their school fairs all weekend long. This weekend, a lot less. Second weekend of Jazz Fest, to be sure. But definitely some much-needed rest in store for this weekend. All right, we got Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser in our next segment. We're going to talk with Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Heather Johnson from the Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center this hour as well. Right now, though, we start off the second hour with top stories and trending. Let's get it. Nick Toulier, sheriff's deputy who spent nearly 6 years in different hospitals after he was shot in an ambush targeting Baton Rouge law enforcement, has died. Toulier's family said he passed Thursday morning, publishing a short statement on social media saying, "God gained his best angel." A procession down I-12 rolled Thursday afternoon from Our Lady of the Lake to a funeral home in Denham Springs. For those of you who are new to Baton Rouge, Toulier was shot July 17th, 2016, when a gunman opened fire near a gas station on Airline Highway, a short distance from Baton Rouge Police Headquarters. Investigators say the attacker specifically targeted law enforcement in the shooting. 3 others died in that attack: Montrell Jackson, Matthew Gerald, and Brad Garofolo. Well, Brad Myers hangs onto the judge's seat. He will be East Baton Rouge's newest judge after a recount affirmed he won the election last weekend by just 2 votes. Myers' opponent for the vacant 19th JDC seat, Jordan Faircloth, filed for a recount after the results were first announced Saturday. Voters cast 6,073 ballots for Myers, 6,071 for Faircloth, according to the Secretary of State's office. The seat opened after Judge William Morvant retired late last year. You want to talk about your value in a local election? 2 votes. 2 votes made the difference. I mean, the Mets were down by more than 2 runs heading into the 9th last night, and they won. Sheriff's deputies are investigating a large fight that broke out at Central High School on Thursday. East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office said 6 are facing charges after the brawl, which was caught on video, later posted to social media. Those videos showed a crowd of students gathered in circles as some traded blows in the school cafeteria. The school sent a notice to parents Thursday alerting them that the campus was temporarily locked down. There were 6 students ticketed, cited for disturbing the peace. Shots reported near LSU last night. Text alerts went out to students, faculty, and staff at LSU just after 8 p.m. last night, alerting them of reported shots fired at Roosevelt Street near the Ed Gay Apartments. Less than an hour later, a follow-up text was sent saying that both LSU and PD were on scene and continuing to investigate. Now, there was no official, all clear because the investigation was continuing. However, the text did state that LSU PD believed there was no further threat to campus. Operations were returning to normal. A woman died April 21st after she was found with gunshot wounds at a hotel along, the news report says Airline Highway, but the Oyo Hotel was actually off of Gwinnedale, which is the Sherwood exit. Baton Rouge Police Department said the shooting was first reported after 1:30 a.m. We all know the story from the Oyo Hotel. Yesterday, police arrested 34-year-old Justin Cuba for the shooting. By the way, if you've not kept up with the stories about the Oyo Hotel, hundreds of calls made based off of this one hotel. It's been a ridiculous hotspot, to say the least. Those are your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. Interviews are coming up next week. Interviews will be held Monday and Tuesday morning with the 2 finalists for the job as Executive Director of the Downtown Development District. James Slaughter, a consultant and economic development specialist from Beacon, New York, will interview Monday. Whitney Sayal, an Assistant Director of Urban Trails at BREC, and a former DDD staffer will interview on Tuesday. Both interviews will be held at the Downtown Development District's offices, 247 Florida Street, and follow the same format. A meet-and-greet breakfast with the public will be held from 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning, followed by an interview from 10 till noon. The interview will include a 40-minute presentation from each candidate, followed by questions from the search committee and attendees. Both Slaughter and Sayal were recommended as finalists by the search committee out of a pool of 9 candidates. Those are out of 80 applicants. A third finalist, Jefferson Treywick, a partner on the Birmingham Business Alliance growth team in Alabama, removed himself from consideration due to personal reasons. Side note, the new head of the Downtown Development District will be only the second one in its existence. Davis Roar's been running that thing since it started, back in the late 80s. Those are your top stories in trending. We're going to take a quick break in just a minute. After that break, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser is coming up right after that. Before we hit that break, though, got to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's Market. They're downtown on 3rd Street. They are in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center that is right across the street from Tiger Stadium. Look, I tell you about the craft beer selection often because the craft beer selection is phenomenal. I'll put it up with any of the craft beer selections in town. They do a great job. They're stocked up with everybody from those that are local to those that you might not have heard of that aren't so local. You're going to get yourself a great beer, a great recommendation from either location of Mathern's, but when you walk in that one in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center right across the street from Tiger Stadium, you get the feel. You know, you can know when you look at the selection that they know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about. No, by the way, they are a full-service grocery store. So if you need to knock out your grocery shopping for this week, go ahead, download the Mathern's app, get your grocery shopping done before you even leave work today, and then swing by. They'll bring it out to your car. Boom, you're done. I just saved you time. Mathern's, downtown on 3rd or right across the street from Tiger Stadium on Nicholson. I got to run down the hall for a second, y'all. 717, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. I've got to remember to stop checking my texts during the breaks. My wife texted me. We were talking about Space Hotel with Haggai Davis in our Tech Gumbo segment. She says, you thought there was nothing to do at the beach. Why would I want to go to space and just sit there? Anyway, let's talk about hotels that matter. Let's talk about tourism that matters. It is wrapping up Tourism Week here in Louisiana. On the back end of Tourism Week is what has to be an exhausted Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, welcome back to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm good, my friend. Good morning. Good afternoon. Whatever it is, I'm running around. Crazy.
I've been following your schedule all week long. I was like, he can come on the show, or he could just nap, and I'll just sing him lullabies. Either way, we're good.
Well, we got a breakfast this morning, Ruston, then we head to Monroe, and 2 more stops after that, and then I'll be introducing Lauren Daigle at the Jazz Fest on Saturday to end a great tourism week all over Louisiana.
Let's talk about Tourism Week throughout Louisiana and a few of the things that have been covered thus far. Press release coming from your office earlier this week. The tourism industry in Louisiana has been recovering quicker than it has in other states. This has obviously been a concerted effort from your office's part.
Right. Well, it's a lot of people that have worked really hard doing the shutdown, doing everything from virtual meetings, and we even mailed every tour operator in Canada a Sazerac glass, and we did a live mixing of that drink, and then we toasted them and said the beer's cold, the gumbo's hot when you can travel again. We lit up the Superdome on Canadian Day, July 1st. We did those things all over the world throughout the shutdown, so people were hungry for Louisiana. We kept it fresh in their mind, so the minute they could travel, they were hitting the button and seeing where they're going to go in Louisiana.
For a lot of travelers, it hasn't been, or for convention business specifically, it hasn't been a matter of when, it's been a matter of if. How tough of a battle has that been in contacting those that have had their big conventions in the past to even continue to have live conventions in person?
Well, we've been able to do something with our great food and music. We offer Louisiana Lanyard. Yeah. And as people were looking to rebook their convention, if they brought it anywhere in Louisiana, we'd give them free Louisiana seafood for one night and a local band and musician. It helps our seafood producers out, and it helps our musicians who had a rough time through COVID. And we've been able to get a lot. We bought the water ski champion. We were able to steal that away from Miami and got it in Baton Rouge. We're working on several more now, but we've been really successful when you get that free night free. And then once we get them here, like the water ski championship, they booked again for next year because they have such a great time. So I think we've got more tools in our toolbox, working with all the convention and visit bureaus around the state to really partner and offer things that other states won't offer.
The water ski championship, that was that kind of flew under the radar a little bit, but was a bigger deal than I think we paid attention to.
It really was, and I tell you, we brought all the judges to eat charbroiled oysters at Drago's, and they had to time their life and then booked it for next year. It was a long event, just like the Olympic trials. We're working on Olympic trials all over the state. Those people stay longer, and all these sporting events, especially youth sporting events, that we're doing at all these ball fields, that really kept a lot of people alive through COVID because those outdoor events took place, and we can continue to grow that market.
We're talking with Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser about wrapping up Louisiana Tourism Week, or it's Tourism Week everywhere, just the emphasis here in Louisiana. Lieutenant Governor Nungesser, one of the other areas of emphasis from your office during the pandemic was hitting us up, making sure the locals took advantage of staycations. Moving forward, how many of these deals are going to remain available to us?
Well, right now, we had One Tank Louisiana was a big push.
Yeah.
With gas prices now, we just rolled out a half tank trip. So you can go to a beach in a state park. It might not be Florida beaches, but you can do it on a half a tank of gas. So you can go to LouisianaTravel.com and look at half tanks of gas. You can get all over Louisiana. The World Heritage Site at Poverty Point. You can go down to Avery Island. So we're going to try to encourage not only Louisianans, but people outside the state. A half a tank of gas can get you to a lot of great things to do, see, and eat in Louisiana.
Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser on the hotline for a couple more minutes, talk about Tourism Week. All right, stacked up. I don't want to make side-by-side comparisons to previous pre-pandemic years, but I would like to see some side-by-side comparisons to other states. Do we have any numbers from, say, like Mississippi Gulf Coast that could show whether or not we're outpacing them on the recovery front?
Well, in 2019, we had our fifth record-breaking year. Yeah. 51.3 million people visited Little Louisiana. We just got the numbers back in 2021, 41 million visitors. Now, considering we also had a couple hurricanes, we had some bad weather, and coming out of COVID, we thought it would be a 3 to 4 year recovery. I think we're going to be back to those record-breaking numbers next year, if not this year. We just came out the box a lot quicker than other states. We've got so much to offer. And then we had the Macy's Day Parade, the Rose Parade. After those two parades, we saw more people going to our website, booking a trip for Mardi Gras. We took advantage of Mardi Gras all over Louisiana, and we led into the fairs and festival season. And that we've been knocking it out the park for every event we've done around the state. And then we leaned forward. Early last year, the State Tourism Office put up money to make sure the LSU-Florida State game is in the Superdome. The first game with the new coach, the first game a lot of time goes away. Yeah. We needed to fill the hotels, restaurants, and shops. Every event, we can't afford to lose any events. So we wanted to make sure that game was in the Superdome.
The events like the Rose Bowl Parade and the Thanksgiving Day Parade, those put Louisiana on a national, if not international stage. How long does it take to see residuals from that? How long does it take to see any? And I know you're never going to get one-to-one. Like nobody's booking something, booking a trip online and saying it's because they saw that. It just we're front and center, we're top of mind. But what's the turnover time from something like that till we see airlines and hotels?
Well, we can see immediately the numbers go up on social media. People going to our website, looking at where to book trips. For the Macy's Day, we reached 1.48 billion people at 29 to 1 return on investment. We got a media value over $13 million for that parade. And then we reached 2.6 billion people for the Rose Parade and an earned media value over $25 million. We just knocked it out of the park. I mean, those numbers were incredible, and we'll be back this year with parades, floats in both those parades, because leading into Mardi Gras season, what better way to do it than highlight Louisiana in a parade? And to have John Batiste stole the show in New York. We won the best floral and entertainment out in Pasadena. So just like everywhere Louisiana goes, we steal the show. We hit way above our weight, and we really grabbed some attention for Louisiana.
And those were followed up with a magnificent, and I mean darn near historic Final Four.
It really was. And I tell you, all of these events falling in line, I just see the future's really bright for tourism, and we want to get back those record-breaking numbers and seeing events hosted all over Louisiana.
Got a couple minutes left with Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser before he just passes out from exhaustion. Lieutenant Governor Nungesser, after Jazz Fest, what's on the schedule? I mean, do we hit kind of a summertime lull because of the temperatures until football season rolls around?
We really don't. We've got the Grand Isle Fishing Rodeo, the oldest fishing tournament in the U.S., and even with all their recovery, we're going to make sure we drive that tournament and get the fishermen down here. But we've got 400 fairs and festivals. I mean, we never slow down. It's year-round in Louisiana, so we'll roll from those into football season. And I just see the hotel numbers keep going up, and I'm real excited and proud of the tourism teams around the state and the work they've done.
One more before we get you out of here, and I greatly appreciate your time this morning, is right before Tourism Week, we had Love the Boot Week. You've got some numbers back in on the amount of work that was done. Honestly, I'm a little bit embarrassed that there was this much work that could be done. But can you kind of put a button on Love the Boot Week from late April?
Yeah, we don't have the tonnage, but the thing I'm most proud of, on any given year, we have 40 or 50 groups around the state. Over 290 groups all over Louisiana got out and helped clean up Louisiana. And I'm really proud of the task force that the governor put under my office to deliver a plan by July 1st to keep Louisiana clean. And I'm proud of Wildlife and Fishery, DOTD, DEQ, the work they've done and the changes we're all making to make sure we clean up Louisiana and we keep it clean. And Love to Boot Week was a couple weeks ago. But every fourth Saturday we designate, the governor did, as a cleanup day. And if you can't do it on that day, get out and clean up. There's a lot of work to be done, educating the kids, getting companies and shopping malls to put the garbage cans back in the parking lot, and make sure everybody cleans out their pickup truck before they head down the road.
How do you keep the momentum up to keep the community pride with this? To make sure this isn't a one week out of the year. We have 51 weeks to dirty the place up before we clean it again. How do you instill that in others?
Well, I think through social media, we reward and thank the people that are doing the work, and we embarrass the people that continue to litter. Less than 14% of the people actually litter. We brought in a litter expert from out of town to guide us through this process. So when we deliver a plan back to the governor and the legislature on July 1st, it will be a plan that we can implement to keep it clean once we get it cleaned up. And everybody can do this. You clean up your house when you invite family over. As we open our doors back to the world, we can do this and clean up sportsman's paradise.
He is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Not done just yet. Going from Ruston to Monroe to wrap up Jazz Fest with Lauren Daigle. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you for hopping on board.
Have a great day and have a great weekend.
You do the same, sir. And I can tell you I'm going to have a great weekend. I'm going to have crawfish this weekend, and I've been looking forward to this for some time. So I'm supposed to be telling you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet right now, okay? I'm going to bag that for a minute because the owner of Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet is involved in something that I'm involved with as well. We've got a crawfish boil going on at Mercy this weekend, and it's $20 for 5 pounds if you pre-order, $3 corn and potatoes. I'm looking for the phone number right here. Oh, no. Tell you what. Go to our YouTube stream, and I will post up a link to order crawfish. Our Lady of Mercy, it's called our Acts Ministry, Adoration Community Theology and Service is what it stands for. We've got a crawfish boil going on this weekend that is a fundraiser for the ministry, and we're looking to just move a lot of crawfish. It is going on this weekend. Oh, you know what? You can only order in person at this point. All right, I'm seeing that. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get the link anyway and get it opened up to where we can post something up for you. Go to our YouTube stream and get in on this. Like I said, it is $20 for 5 pounds of crawfish, $3 for the corn and potatoes, and all of the proceeds go right back into the ministry. This is something that is very near and dear to my heart. It's also very near and dear to Mitch Kimball's heart, the owner of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, which I love telling you about every day. 2 locations, 4065 Florida Boulevard in the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. A productive day starts with a good night's sleep. A good night's sleep starts with a good mattress. A good mattress comes from the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. Mention my name, you will get free delivery and a free pillow at either location, Mid-City or in the corner of Old Jefferson and Hoosier 2. So I'll grab that information for the crawfish boil, post it on the YouTube stream. You can get in on the crawfish this weekend over there. Right now, we got to take a quick break for news. When we come back from news, let's talk Live Well Baton Rouge. We're a week away from it, but I want to set the table for it now. Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center does this often. It used to be called the Fest for Life. Now it's called Live Well Baton Rouge. Right after news. Let me go grab that info. All right. 445-3124 and let them know you heard about it here and not from Condon. Storm says the state is filthy. The highways are an embarrassment. The city of Baton Rouge doesn't seem to care. The city does not seem to care. You're right. I completely agree. There are people who care, though. And this is where we get into Jennifer Richardson from Keep Tigertown Beautiful was on a couple weeks ago. When you talk about the concept of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, we are the people, and we can step up and do things to help. It's very easy to fall back into the mindset of, well, I pay my taxes to get this done. I know. How's that been working out for you? We're not going to continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. But you're right. It is embarrassing that we have that large of a number of people who just don't give a shit. When you cross the state line into Mississippi, Mississippi, and you know, like, that's one of the first things I notice all the time. There's no crap all over the ground. You cross the line into Texas, you notice two things. No crap on the ground and a lot of road cones because they're doing road work. I completely agree with you, dude. It's disgusting. Oh, crap. I got to run upstairs to print something for this next segment. All right, got the crawfish boil information. I got to run upstairs. I'll be back in 2 seconds. All right. Oh, shoot. All right, I'm back. Storm says, cross the Mississippi state line and roads look like a park. I know. Here's the thing, though, and tell me if I'm wrong on this one, or tell me, like, at what point does it move up the charts enough to address? Do you want to redirect resources towards picking up trash at the expense of fill in the blank? Oh, hell, that's a good poll question. You know what? What are you cutting from the budget in order to abate litter? In fact, I would go this far. Every damn millage that runs through our property taxes ought to have one day on the calendar year where they're picking up trash. I don't care who you are. Okay, Breck, CATS drivers, CATS executives on meth. I don't like a council on aging. Everybody, mayor's office, police office, everybody, give me one day. I think I just came up with an idea. Thank you, Storm Warning. I think I just came up with an idea. Oh, we're on to something. Seven 738 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. So coming up, it is next weekend. Actually, this is coming up. So we're giving you a week to prep for this here. The folks at Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center are putting on Live Well Baton Rouge. Joining us now to talk about that is Heather Johnson. Heather, good morning. Welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. Glad to be talking about this. Live Well Baton Rouge might sound unfamiliar, but it's been around for a good bit under a different name. What is Live Well Baton Rouge?
Live Well Baton Rouge, most may know it formally as Specialized. It's a community health event where attendees are able to take charge of their health through free cancer screenings.
What kind of cancer screenings?
We'll be screening for 4 types of cancers: breast, colorectal, prostate, and skin cancers on Saturday, May 14th, starting at 8 a.m., ending at 1 p.m.
8 a.m. to 1 p.m. next Saturday. Now, all these are free, but the money's got to come from somewhere. I'm told this has a connection back to Washington, not Washington, I'm not, Carnival Cruise to Louisiana, which rolls during Mardi Gras. They don't roll. They have their big party over at the River Center. But this is the direct output of great work that's done during the Mardi Gras season.
Yes, this free early detection and prevention event is made possible by Carnival Cruise de Louisiana. It raised a record-breaking $415,000 plus contribution for the Cancer Center during this year's Mardi Gras. You are correct. Where
is this going to take place at?
We will be along Spanish Town Road in front of Louisiana State Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with 8 a.m. Go Yoga, sponsored by April Hill at Yoga 90 Studio. 8 a.m., 8 to 9. Bring your yoga mats for a free yoga class to start off a day of health and wellness. The screenings will start at 9 a.m. In addition to those cancer screenings, we will have biometric screenings in partnership with Baton Rouge General. Women's Hospital will assist us and partner with us for the mammography for the community. We'll have kids' games, live music with DJ Bob, free food for all those that attend, chef demonstrations, fitness demonstrations with various other partners. It's just a full day of health.
Had the Lieutenant Governor on in our last segment talking about tourism in Louisiana, and he said we have a festival for everything. I think we're the only ones that can turn breast cancer screenings, prostate cancer screenings, colorectal cancer screenings into a festival. I don't think you're going to get that anywhere else in the nation.
You are correct. We love our festivals, and so why not take charge of your health? And what we already know, we love a festival style. It doesn't feel like a festival. It's a family-filled event, something for everyone to come and participate in. And like you said, a good environment, a festival-style feel, several events going on downtown. So just come on downtown, start with us with health and wellness, and partake in other festivities on Saturday, May 14th.
Now, it's not just the cancer screenings that are going on. There's going to be a lot of other testing available as well, correct?
Yes, biometric screenings such as blood pressure, glucose, cholesterol tests, BMI tests, in partnership with Baton Rouge General. They'll be on hand to read the results of those tests and give you any follow-up as necessary. One unique thing about us, we don't just screen, give you your results. We have a patient navigator that actually follows up with the participants who have an abnormal finding, and we hold your hand every step of the way until there's a resolution of findings. So it's just not come get screened and go home. We take care of you following an abnormal finding as well.
Very important point along the way, because yes, this is something that we'd like to be routine, but every once in a while the routine is not routine. So in order to make sure that we're taken care of throughout, that is a very important point. Now, screening is unbelievably important when it comes to cancer. Let's talk about early detection and the importance of early detection.
Early detection is important because most these cancers that we talk about screening of, they're treatable and they're beatable. And if they're caught in their earliest stages, treatment options, you have a wide range of treatment options. So due to COVID-19 pandemic, studies do show a drastic decline in these cancer screenings. We want people to start getting back on a regular routine regimen and having your annual cancer screening due to the age-appropriate guidelines or risk factors. We want people to start getting in the routine to do that again. Early detection reduces mortality from cancers from those from 3 of those screenings that we talked about: the colon, breast, and prostate screening.
Colon, breast, and prostate screening that leaves skin cancer out, which is probably the most prevalent of all of them. Correct?
Yes, skin cancer screening remains the most common form of cancer. About 1 in 5 Americans will develop that by the age of 70. Early detection, like I said, is key. We will have a dermatologist on hand to do a visual scan to check for any abnormalities, any change in moles, lesions on the skin. It's a visual scan, and if you come sign up, if you have anything that you're concerned about, they'll pay close attention to that as well.
If we could dive into a few of the other screenings as well, because this is it's a weird space to be in, to be calling this, to go out and have all these combined into one. Normally, you would associate a screening like this within the doctor's office. What levels of concern and privacy are taken when it comes to this?
Well, we've been hosting these screenings on our mobile medical clinic since 2006, since we put our first mobile on the road. So there's a great level of privacy. Our mobile clinics are outfitted with exam-style rooms. You will get a similar feel just as you would when you go into your doctor's office. It's outfitted, like I said, exam-style on our mobile medical clinics to be able to provide the privacy you need for these screenings.
As far as other cancers are concerned, because this is there are many, many other cancers out there, is there any effort within this to kind of broaden this out, or is this these are the available screenings that you can actually take on the road?
These are the available screenings, like I said, that we can screen from for preventable cancer, which are the 4 screening types that I talked about. We do education on all types of screenings and all types of cancers. We promote a healthy lifestyle because we know some modifiable health behaviors will decrease your chances of getting cancer, which is why we have those healthy cooking demos on hand. We have those fitness instructors encouraging you to get on a regular regimen with your healthness, keep a healthy weight, BMI, and also a healthy diet.
Now, this is it is a festival atmosphere, but it is still a very much a medical atmosphere as well. Do you have to sign up ahead of time? Do they need to know who's coming? Do you have to register or call for an appointment before getting a cancer screening?
Yes, we highly encourage the community members to call for an appointment. It just helps us better prepare so we can make sure that we're efficiently offering the services or providing the services that we're offering. You can give us, to schedule an appointment, you can call 225-425-8034. We'll have staff on hand to ask you a few questions and to get some background demographic information from you and schedule your screenings at a time that's most convenient for you. 425-8034, 425-8034, and I will have Jake include that in the on-demand section for those that might be driving on their way into work right now and can't stop to write things down. Other than that, what did I miss, Heather? Anything else we need to cover before we get you out of here? No, we just welcome everyone to come on down, like I said, Spanish Town Road in front of the Capitol Lawn, starting at 8 a.m. with a nice yoga fitness class and screening starting at 9, ending at 1. Bring the family. It's something for everyone. Take charge of your health in an accessible style atmosphere. Come have some food, some fun, some games, some door prizes. And just a reminder that all of this is brought possible by our sponsors, Carnival Crew de Louisiane.
She is Heather Johnson from the Mary Bear Perkin Cancer Center. Live Well Baton Rouge, formerly known as Fest for Life, coming up 1 week from tomorrow. Thanks for hopping on board today.
Thank you for having me.
Always. I mean, when you think about we turn everything into a festival, Breast cancer screenings, prostate cancer screenings, don't be nasty. Colorectal cancer screenings, skin cancer screenings. and all the other events that are going to be going on surrounding it. Starting off with the yoga, the food demonstrations, and the like. It's very easy to make light of it because it's in a festival-like atmosphere, but it is something very, very serious, and it's something that we've seen advancements in recent years that show actual progress. Early diagnosis is the key to survival. Early diagnosis is the difference maker when it comes to most forms of cancer, breast cancer especially. Breast cancer, I was on the board for Susan G. Komen locally for a number of years, and the mission was to eradicate breast cancer, but the shorter-term mission is to make it not a death sentence. And we're really there with early detection. And that starts with events like this. If you can't make it out, call your doctor, schedule your own screening for anything you might be genetically predisposed to, anything you would have a family trait for. But there are ages where you are supposed to get certain screenings. Hell, I'm 45. I probably need to get in line for a few of them myself. But that's coming up a week from tomorrow. All right, we're going to take a break here in just a minute. I'm tinkering with the idea of adding something back to the rundown where I might have triggered some folks on the YouTube stream. Love the Boot Week was April 18th to 24th. And the Lieutenant Governor, when he was on, he said he didn't have tonnage. I followed up a little bit. 293 tons of litter picked up throughout the state during Love the Boot Week. 293 tons of litter. I got a little poll question for you for our, it's just open-ended. I want to hear all ideas. There are no bad ideas here. Every time I say that, there's a bad idea. Post up on our YouTube stream. It's Mornings with Brian Haldane on YouTube. Subscribe while you're there, please. Post up on our YouTube stream. What can be done to change the game when it comes to litter? Is this about greater punishment? Is this about greater activism? Is this about community awareness? I don't think it is about community awareness. I think if you don't care, you don't care. What can be done to change the game here? Let me know on YouTube. This is, I think I might have touched the nerve with this one. I want your comments. All right, quick break. Your money now. Traffic. We're coming back after this for the outside end. Stepping outside of East Baton Rouge Parish. Next. All right. Galen says, prisoners should pick up trash. Lord knows we have plenty of them. I agree with this. The methed up cats. Wait, before I move on, and since I'm reading one of Byron's comments, I feel like this is a very Byron joke. I want full credit for not making a prostate screening joke in Spanish Town. I mean, prostate screenings on Spanish Town Road. Come on. Every once in a while, I act like a grown-up. Anywho, the messed up cats executive should be able to set some high pickup productivity. I like leaning into our embarrassments. I know! Galen says, and litterers should pick up trash. Get caught and you pick up trash on the weekends for a month. Second offense, 2 months, etc. I like that. I like that a lot. Cut the budget. Isn't the budget flush with cash right now? Increase the budget. Have prisoners and those accused of DUI pick it up. Okay, but if you're increasing the budget, you've got to pull it from another section of the budget. The budget is a finite pie right now. And watch what you ask for when you say increase the budget overall. Because if you increase the budget because it's flush right now, what's going to happen next year when our homeowners, our property taxes are going to go up? So that's why I say cut the budget in order to make room for it. Take the existing pie that's there right now. Forget federal dollars. Take the existing pie that's there right now. And if you give me $1,000 from this department and $1,000 from this department and $1,000 from this department, by the end of the day, you're probably going to be able to piece together 6 figures to do this. And you're not going to get it all done, but you can show progress. Byron says, I'm still a fan of the broken windows theory. Come down hard on the D-bags, flicking butts out of their car, and maybe people won't feel so unconcerned about the other types of litter. Every other state road crews pick up trash before they mow. So, actually, good order, good sequence of events right there, Debbie. That's important, too. You pick up trash before you mow, you're picking up one piece of trash. You wait till after you mow, you've got 8 different pieces of trash strewn all over the place. Anna says, stop, LMAO. Prostate exam. It's Spanish Town Road. What did you think was going to happen? Say, Doc, why are both hands on my shoulder? Complete collision. Ooh, Rusty's got a good one here, too. They should allow people with dash cameras to submit the video of people littering, assuming you have their license plates, and have tickets issued. I like this as well. I like this. If you can get a red light camera, why can't you get a litter camera? That's a damn good one. But it's always going to come back around to the original point. And that is, if you're issuing citations for litter while murder is still happening, you know when the well-to-do person gets busted for this, and there are those as well. When the well-to-do person gets busted for this, it's, why don't you go fight real crime? And then that'll escalate. And then they'll call somebody who's connected, and then it'll kick back down again. I'm leaning back towards, whose idea was it? Galen's idea? Because one of the things I despise is policing for profit. I don't like fines for something like this. If you've got the day labor construction workers who are in the truck and the empty 12-pack of Sprite flies out the back of the truck and lands on the ground, now you've got a cardboard box on the ground, what are you going to do? Ticket them? Charge them $125 that they don't have, that they're not going to pay? That they're going to end up with a bench warrant for because they're going to have to miss a day of day labor in order to show up to court for this? And then that problem just escalates and their woes just escalate? I like the idea better of making them work it off. Trash pickup, juvenile offenders, DUI offenders, prisoners. You know, if you converted this into some level of metric that said you're getting paid an exorbitant amount of money per hour to pay off your fines, $20 an hour to pick up trash, I'd be down with that for sure. All right. The litter conversation. It's rolling over there on the YouTube stream. We're live every day on YouTube. It's Mornings with Brian Haldane. Like I said, subscribe while you're there if you enjoy what you're seeing. But getting a number of really, really great suggestions. I like it. So, side note, I hate policing for profit. I don't like the idea of issuing citations or fines for this, because the likelihood that the people you're fining can't afford to pay the fines, and you're just going to end up putting them in a situation that's going to be much, much worse, that doesn't fly. But if you take their day off and use it to pick up other trash, that does fly. At the end of the day, though, we crossed the state line into Mississippi, and as one user put it, Storm puts it, you cross the state line, it looks like a park on the side of the road. He's right, and it's infuriating. But from a law enforcement standpoint, they've got other stuff to do other than writing tickets for litter. Keep the ideas coming. Y'all are doing a great job. I'm loving the feedback, and it is a great conversation. Right now, we got to step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish. Every day at this time, we check in on the surrounding area, the metro, if you will. We call it the Outside In. We're going to start off in Livingston Parish today with the sad news from yesterday. A long procession of deputies and officers drove down Range Avenue Thursday, escorting the hearse carrying Nick Toulier's body. Others came out to simply pay respects to a hometown hero who was shot on that dreadful Sunday morning back in July of 2016. Down in New Orleans, the body of a 14-year-old girl was recovered from the Mississippi River on Thursday, the second juvenile found dead in the river in 4 days. Brandy Wilson's father, Alan Berry, told WWL-TV the teen was found in the river Thursday evening in St. Bernard Parish at the port facility. The discovery follows the search for the group of 3 juveniles who went missing after swimming in the river late last month. It comes only days after 15-year-old Kevin Poole was discovered in the water. Still missing is Allie Wilson, who went missing at the exact same time. People living in Ascension Parish have had to deal with red dust flying in the air when the wind picks up. Turns out the company responsible for maintaining the area is in violation. That company, according to two on your side at WBRZ and the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, La Lumina Burnside Refinery. Now, they've long since shut down, but they've got these bauxite mud ponds, non-hazardous waste that's generated during the processing of aluminum. So the plant shut down, but they're supposed to maintain the grounds where the plant was. That includes having sprinklers that water all the dust down. If you water all the dirt down, if you don't water the dirt down, the dust kicks up when it dries out and winds start to blowing. Well, we've been under close to drought conditions lately, and the red dust has been a-blowing. So DEQ says La Lumina investigated conditions of the site. They found some of their sprinklers haven't been working properly. They need to replace them or potentially face fines. Keeping it in Ascension Parish to close out, a person is accused of forcing her way into an Ascension Parish home and attacking a woman who was sleeping inside. The sheriff's office says 43-year-old Peggy Valentine was arrested in the attack, which happened around 4 a.m. Wednesday on Elizabeth Street in Donaldsonville. Valentine is booked Thursday on charges of home invasion and attempted first-degree murder. So my top stories in trending. I got to tell you a little story about this morning. This might be. This is one of those relatable ones, right? This is one of those ones that happens to everybody. I hold in my hands a story about Nick Toulier's death, and it's printed on very thick stock confetti paper. I've got a funfetti version of Nick Toulier's death over here. Some jackleg left like invitation paper in the printer. I had 2 pages out before I realized what was happening. And of course, opened the drawer immediately and had to stop the whole print job and whatnot. Don't you hate that? Don't you hate that? If you're taking the normal copy paper out of the copier, the printer, whatever, it's all one hub. If you're taking the normal copy paper out, put the normal copy paper back. I don't need a funfetti version of Nick Toulier's death. It feels disrespectful to read about it. What's up, Rich? Hey, I came down and I stole your info on the crawfish boil.
Got all the info?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought you could pick them up from 11 to 2.
No, it's 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
Right.
We're getting ours at 2.
Are you swinging by?
Yeah.
I told Mitch I would, so I might wait to 2 then, too.
Yeah. We can go up there. It's we got basketball all morning long, so.
All right.
I think
Son, daughters?
daughters, the Brighton School. You know where St. Patrick's is at in that subdivision behind Parkview Oaks, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the corner of Coursey and Sherwood, that subdivision behind there?
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, we got basketball all morning and then crawfish in the afternoon. You know what this is a fundraiser for. You know Paul Cat? Did you know Paul Cat? Paul Cat Lonato? So it's in his honor, but this is that men's group the retreat group that I'm a part of. We've it helps pay for people to go on the retreat. So
Man, of all the Catholic schools in East Baton Rouge Parish, as far as legacy school, Our Lady of Mercy. History.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
all of them had their own little history.
we're in a strong wave right now. We're in a resurgence right now. St. Thomas More is going to come back in short order. They're doing good things. Yeah, it's Mercy used to be the place back in the day. And then it hit this lull where everybody living in this city was either old or not Catholic. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be right back, y'all. All right. Condon's on board for Live Well. I just told him Spanish Town Road and a prostate exam he's in. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Jake producing. Got a busy hour 3 for you. Going to talk about the Baton Rouge Zoo in our next segment. The Wild Wine Walk is coming up a couple weeks from now. Want to get a little preview of how we can get involved. Tickets are still available. Robyn Lott from the Zoo is going to be up with us in our next segment. Also going to get caught up on the construction going on out there. Let's get the latest from the Zoo from Robyn Lott in our next segment. And then we're going to wrap up our guest list with Michelle Southern from Eagle 98.1, normally rocking your face off in the afternoon. She is also the host of the Only in Louisiana podcast, which I absolutely love. Now, full disclosure, I haven't heard the new episode yet. A little disappointed. It's normally part of my routine on a Thursday to listen to the episode while I'm on the treadmill at the gym. I missed the gym yesterday. It's amazing how we're all, well, I shouldn't say we're all. I'm such a creature of habit. You throw off my schedule a little bit, and everything goes to poop. So I'm behind. Got to get caught up. Anywho, coming up later on this morning. We start off the third hour of the show by handing things off to one Jake Barty. It is This Day in History.
it is time for this day in history. We're going to be starting things off in 1733. It was the first international boxing match. Local fighter Bob Whitaker beats the Venetian Gondolier.
Venetian.
Venetian?
Venetian.
That's tough. Tito Di Carni at James Figg's Academy Amphitheatre in London. In 1840, world's first adhesive postage stamp, the penny black, is first used in Great Britain. In 1934...
Used for what?
I mean...
Ordering Columbia House. That's what they were doing.
Give or take.
There is a joke that your entire generation is not going to get.
I mean, I didn't know there was a joke there.
Because you don't know what Columbia House is. Or BMG. Oh, jeez.
1934, the Red Sox score 12
See, there was a time when compact discs first came out, Jay.
You're killing me, Smalls.
There was a time when compact discs first came out. They had these subscription services. Columbia House and BMG were the two big ones. Order 15 CDs for a penny.
What?
But then you had to buy one at the normal price every month for like the next 6 months. Now, nobody followed up and bought them. We just ripped these people off left and right. I still owe Columbia House money. But you got your 15 CDs for a penny. Now, you could opt out month by month, but nobody opted out. You always skip the opt-out, which is why you end up with things like Gerald Levert's greatest hits.
As one does. In 1937...
But they came via the mail.
1934, Red Sox scored 12 runs in the fourth inning, including a record 4 consecutive triples, hit by Carl Reynolds, Moose Solters, Rick Farrell, and B. Walters.
B. Walters?
Yeah. Just
B. Walters.
Maybe he was just known by his first letter.
Yeah.
1937, German airship Hindenburg explodes in flames at Lakehurst,
New
Jersey, killing 35 of the 97 on board and 1 on the ground.
Okay.
I feel bad for all of them, but that 1 on the ground, imagine you're just like walking about your day.
Yeah.
And then...
enjoying an ice cream, just like licking on an ice cream cone?
Yeah, and then,
just loving life.
Giant war balloon just blows up in the sky.
Or the inverse of this would be maybe that dude was having the worst day of his life. Like, just got fired, found out his wife was cheating on him, says, I got to get out of here. I got to take a walk. This day cannot get worse.
So he was aiming for it?
Hindenburg.
Gotcha.
No. How could this day possibly get worse?
And,
it's one of those be careful what you wish for.
Update, it got worse.
Yeah.
1966, the Rolling Stones release. Quite the song, I might say.
Yeah.
Paint It Black was released on this day in 1966 in the U.S.
Cool.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Yep.
1994. The Channel Tunnel linking England and France officially opens.
The Channel?
Yeah, the Channel. I actually saw a picture of it associated with the actual post itself, and they basically met in the middle. Can you imagine that first reaction of these two probably digging for days, weeks, months, like endless amount of time it feels.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you hit one, and then the roof falls, and then you're like, oh, hey! And then he's like, what's up?
Yeah. You reach the people that were on the other side of the Channel.
The Channel.
Meet me in the middle.
In 2002, entrepreneur Elon Musk, he found SpaceX.
Okay.
It's a bit relevant. 20 years ago today.
SpaceX is 20 years old.
Yeah.
Bro.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And in 2004, TV sitcom Friends airs their season finale in their 10th and final season in the U.S. to 52.5 million viewers.
That's a big number.
Quite. What am I missing?
I don't know. I haven't even gone through my sports stuff.
What a casual.
I know.
Come on, son. Do you want me to get to the birthdays then?
Yeah.
All right. Well, first things first, George Clooney turns 61. CP3, the point guard, Chris Paul, 37. It's kind of giving me trouble.
It's a big Hornets Pelicans day on birthdays.
I would have to agree with that. Well, then I'm keeping with that mindset. Jonas Valanciunas turns 30.
Yeah.
And Dani Alves turns 39. What birthdays am I missing?
Got a couple of them here. Let's do the former Pelicans. Alexis Agensa, former Pelicans center, born on this day in 1988. Ryan Anderson, former Pelicans forward, also born on this day in 1988. Are those all the birthdays you had?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have Bob Seger?
I did not.
He's 77 today. And you know I like to hit those LSU birthdays, right?
Give or take a few.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no. One more before LSU.
What you got?
Did you have Willie Mays?
I did not.
Yeah. Huh. Say hey kid, Willie Mays, born on this day in 1931. And also happy birthday to former LSU Tiger Foster Moreau.
Very nice. Happy birthday to all those mentioned. I didn't have any deaths. You got one?
No, but again, I was running down the hall to talk with Condon about prostate exams.
As one does on a Friday morning, excuse me. Let's get to the holidays. First up, Revenge of the 6th.
It's Revenge of the 5th.
No, it's not.
Yesterday was Revenge
Cinco
of the
de Mayo
5th.
can be its own thing.
No,
Revenge of the 6th.
You can't take a day off and dial back into Star Wars.
Cinco de Mayo is its own thing. There already was one that exists for the 5th.
You have to decide.
I did, and that's the right one.
No, you can't. Once you're out, you're out.
Nope. I disagree.
There is no try. There is only do.
Or do not. It is also National Space Day, so shout out to the space. You know, and it's also National No Pants Day. Can't really say I'm feeling festive right now, but I mean, you know,
I'm not going no pants for the rest of the show.
No,
there's no. I'm
definitely not.
I'm not doing that again.
Again, that is this day in history.
We're due up for a quick break. When we come back, let's talk with Robyn Lott from the Baton Rouge Zoo. Yeah, please. Okay, so take Rusty's comment and Galen's comment. Let's work these two out, okay? Can you buy your way out of picking up litter? Rusty says give the option of paying the fine or picking up the litter, right? Galen says nope, got to be a part of the solution, must pick up litter. What if there were a third option where if you want to pick up the fine, you got to pay someone else's fine to pick up their litter and like let them pick up your litter? No, that's getting very Hunger Games. Never mind. That should sound, it sounded better in my head. Forget I opened my mouth. I was just spitballing there. Troy says litter fine can only be paid in kind, and if law enforcement has bigger crimes to deal with, how's that one working out for us? Troy, hitting me with my own, I always throw that question out. How's that working out for you? And no, it's not working out for us. Collision. 817 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So When looking at the May calendar, looking ahead past this weekend, up to May 20th, we've got the Wild Wine Walk coming back out at Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. You've been hearing the spots running right here on Talk 107.3. I want to learn a little bit more about it, so we welcome in Robyn Lott from the zoo. Robyn, welcome back. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing very well. Wild Wine Walk's coming back. This, for those that don't know, this event last year was bonkers. It was so great.
It was. It was kind of epic.
So you had the place in time where within COVID we were able to like stretch our legs once again, and I think everybody was just chomping at the bit. And you guys, y'all nailed it. You nailed it, obviously, but this is one that I think you set the tone. You set the bar so high. You got a lot of folks looking forward to it this year.
We do. So last year was our very first year to host the Wine Walk. Everyone in Baton Rouge is pretty familiar with Brew at the Zoo, which we host every fall, and we decided why not do something in the spring for the wine lovers in the area. So it was an absolute hit, and we do not expect anything different this year. It will be just as good, we promise. We've got tons of wine, tons of food samples. We've got entertainment. The animals will be out. I mean, I think that's the really cool thing about this event that makes it a little different than any other wine tasting in the area is you get to sip your wine, you get to taste the food samplings while you are also seeing the animals, because we have the event after hours, but it's still during the daylight. So you're still able to see the animals, and it's kind of a really cool, unique experience you wouldn't get to do any other way.
Which is pretty much that only after-hours window you get with the animals, which is kind of it's a cool space to be in. Like, you know, my family does the zoo lights every single year. We love the zoo lights, but once it's dark and you can see the zoo lights, you can't see the animals. This is kind of like, you know, the giraffe has clocked out, but he's still there.
Exactly. Yeah, he's on overtime, but he's okay with it.
But so there is interaction. Is there any portion of the zoo that I'm leading this up to a part of the later end of the conversation where we talk about construction? Are there any parts of the zoo that are going to be off limits for this Wild Wine Walk?
Yes. So we do have some portions of the zoo that are under active construction. As most people probably know by now, we are undergoing phase 1 of our reinvention, which we are super excited about. But because of that, we do have some areas that are knee-deep in work, and so those will be closed off. But the strolling zone is still going to be a really good spot. It's not like we're limited to some really tiny area. I still think people are going to be very excited. And the cool thing is you will get a little glimpse, if you haven't been to the zoo in a while, of some of the work that's going on.
Very, very cool stuff. Yes, because mixing alcohol with an active construction zone is probably ill-advised. So,
right, you might need to bring your own hard hat. If no, we'll be good. Everybody's going to be totally safe.
So what we've got going on May 20th for VIP, which is VIP still available, or are those sold out?
VIP sold out in 2 days. So yeah, unfortunately we don't have any more of those, but we do have general admission still remaining. And so the way that works is our VIPs are allowed to come in at 4 p.m., and all of the general admission folks can come in at 5 p.m., and then the event concludes at 7:30.
So you got 5 till 7:30, and if the VIP selling out like Garth Brooks tickets is any indicator, you want in on general admission before these sell out as well. You talked about last year. Will there be any differences from last year to this year?
Well, the construction will definitely be one of them, so you'll have a slightly different route. We will still have some entertainment, but we do potentially have some different entertainers coming in than what we had last year. We're working on some of the final details there. And then we do have some new restaurants and some new wine providers. So there will be some different things to taste, for sure.
So I'm looking at the list of restaurants right now. And by the way, you know, Mathern sponsors this show as well, and they'll be out there for both drinks and food. But who else is on the restaurant front?
Oh, gosh, the list is long. Our Mom's is coming. Rouse's is doing lots of their charcuterie that they've done in the past. City Pork. LSU Dining is coming out. It's about probably a dozen different eateries that are coming out to put some of their fun food out for the folks to taste.
Very cool stuff. And who's the entertainment?
Michael Brandt is lined up, and then we have some others in the wings that we haven't quite secured yet.
Okay, don't spoil anybody till they're signed, sealed, and delivered. We're talking with Robyn Lott from the Baton Rouge Zoo about the Wild Wine Walk coming up May 20th. Before we shift over to talk a little bit about construction, where can folks go to get their tickets?
wildwinewalk.org is the website, and we'll take care of you. The tickets come straight to your inbox. We don't do physical tickets anymore. Everything's digital. And the cool thing about it is if you purchase tickets now, you put them in your name. You're not really sure who's coming. That's cool because we don't worry about transfers. So basically, if you buy a ticket for yourself and a date, but you're not quite sure who your date is yet,
okay,
that's cool. And if you need to sell those or give those to somebody else, we make it really simple for you.
And also get in on the T-shirts too. I'm just now seeing this.
Yeah.
$25 if you get them in advance, $30 at the event. The logo on this T-shirt, the logo on the back is really clever. It's a tiger with a wine glass as a nose.
Yeah, it really is. It's really a cool design. Our ad agency Tilt did that for us, and especially, I guess, important to note this year is that the T-shirt is purple. So for all the LSU Tiger fans, this one is going to be one you'll want.
Very cool stuff. Robyn, let's shift gears and talk just a little bit about what's going on at the zoo right now. You mentioned phase one of the, what did you call it, re-envisioning or reimagining? The phase one of construction is going on right now. Where are we at within this phase?
So our giraffe barn is very close to being completed, which I know probably doesn't sound overly exciting to the public, but it's massive for us. It's a state-of-the-art barn that will enable us to enlarge our herd. So right now we have 3 giraffes, and this barn will enable us to house up to 6 once it's completed. And it's, when I say state-of-the-art, it's got heated and cooled floors and some really cool features that allow our animals to have truly a VIP experience in the place that they live most of the time. And then once that's completed, we'll basically be marrying and joining the existing giraffe exhibit with the new area where the barn is located, and it will all be one massive area for the giraffes to roam, and we'll also be adding a giraffe feeding platform. So that's in process. Definitely going to be next year before that one is completed and available to the public.
Mm-hmm.
What is a little bit further along is the Pygmy Hippo exhibit, which we've had Pygmy hippos for years. The cool thing about this exhibit is it will enable the public to see the animals underwater, which, if you know anything about the species, they like a lot of time underwater. So that will give you a chance to see them almost aquarium style. And that exhibit is coming along well, and I am told that there is a potential that we could grand open it before the end of this year.
Oh, wow, cool. And yes, so the Pygmy Hippo exhibit in the past is, like, if you weren't right up on the wall, you could, because they're always in the water. They're always splashing around and fun to watch. But, like, you know, if you got a 5-year-old and he's not on your shoulders, then yeah, it's this is a much needed improvement and is going to be fantastic once it gets here. Looking forward to that. What else is going on?
Well, we also will soon begin some work on transitioning the front and the back of the zoo. So if you guys have kept up with some of the changes, eventually the front of the zoo will become the back and the back will become the front. And we will be connecting Greenwood Park with the zoo. So basically you'll be entering from a different area. Mm-hmm. It'll be much more scenic. It'll be connecting the park and the zoo. And so we'll soon begin work on that as well. So as you can imagine, with a lot of other projects around town, we have experienced some delays, but we are continuing to push forward. And I think anyone who comes to the zoo today will start to see that. Yeah. But when you come to the zoo in the next 6 months to a year, you're really going to start seeing some of the progress for sure. This
idea to flip the entrance and basically turn the zoo around once it was introduced. I mean, this is something that everybody's kind of fallen in love with. Y'all could be 100% on schedule and still feel like it's running late for everybody. The anticipation towards this, I don't feel like I'm overselling it, because everybody I've talked to is like, yes, this is brilliant. Why wasn't this built like this in the first place?
Yes. Well, we're excited because, you know, the neat thing is we're doing this, it's all happening in phases and little nuggets. And so the public will get opportunities to get excited as each individual improvement happens. So we will have a fun grand opening and celebration when Pygmy Hippo opens, and then months later when Giraffe opens. And so there will kind of always be something to be excited and celebrating.
Talk with Robyn Lott with the Baton Rouge Zoo. A little bit about the wine walk, a little bit about the construction. After the turnaround, are there other phases beyond that, or are we not there yet?
There will be other phases. There will be a capital campaign to raise funds for the next phase, and that is all in the works and starting to be prepared for as we speak. But yes, we did a master plan to basically chart out what the zoo's future looks like for the next 25 to 30 years. So this is just the very beginning stages of that.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. And looking forward to the wine walk as well. The website, one more time, is wildwinewalk.org, wildwinewalk.org. General admission tickets are still available. The event is coming up 5 to 7:30 on May 20th. Robyn, thank you so much for hopping on board today.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Absolutely. Yeah, once they flip that thing around in the zoo and the park, which, by the way, if you're not familiar with Greenwood Park, it's one of Breck's better parks. Like, they've got all kinds of, you've got the paddle wheel boats or canoes or whatever. They got the long nature trail. It's really escapism. It is really escaping into just the middle of the woods. Very, very cool park. And teaming this up with the zoo, making them side by side is going to take 2 half days and make them a whole day, right? It's going to take you. We driving all the way out there? Yes. There's this much more to do now, and it's going to be fun. Didn't want to press Robyn for this because there's no way of knowing yet. And she mentioned capital campaigns on the back end. I want to see what they do with what is now the parking lot and green area on the front. What is now the front of the zoo? Once that becomes the back of the zoo, what do we do then? I say we. I get passionate about the zoo. It's one of my favorite places in Baton Rouge. I love the interaction that my kids have with the animals. I love the on-hand education at the zoo. It's one of my favorites. And the Wild Wine Walk is coming up May 20th. All right, got to take a break here. When we come back from that break, Michelle Southern from the Only in Louisiana podcast is going to join us to talk about the latest episode. Before we take that break, though, got to remind you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. Their phone number is 768-9898, 768-9898. I like to drill home the phone number because if you get into an accident, you got to know who you're calling quickly. If you call your insurance company first, they're going to say, hey, take it to, Joe Bob's shop. We know him. He's a good dude. He'll take care of you. He'll take care of them for sure. If they're sending you somewhere that if your insurance company is sending you somewhere they're recommending, they've likely got a deal hammered out to where they are the customer and not you. It's called a direct repair shop, and they're there to make sure it costs the insurance company as little as possible. What's overlooked in that is getting you back out on the road safely, finding hidden damage, replacing safety redundancies, making sure your car is back to standard, factory standard before putting you back out on the road. Complete Collision gets it done. CompleteCollision.com, CompleteCollision.com. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com. I want another elephant, but those are impossible to get. Am I shooting the moon too much to want to do this? Y'all, the Baton Rouge Zoo opened with an elephant named Penny. And the elephant was named Penny because that what was his name? The guy who started the zoo. Shit. Buckskin Bill. Good Lord, Brian. What the hell? Buckskin Bill started the capital campaign by raising pennies. Had kids dumping pennies in a jar. That raised the money to buy the elephant that got the zoo started. There you go. You see, I got there. I want new animals at the zoo. But in 2022, that is a much different prospect than it was in 1960 or 70. It's not nearly as easy now. So I want to find out what's attainable, and I want to help. I don't know how much money I could possibly raise, but let's take a swing here. And I want to know what they're going to do with that space on the backside. Because if you're already mapping out to go to Greenwood and the Baton Rouge Zoo, you ready for this? Are you ready for this? 3 words. I'll give you the first word, and let's see if y'all can fill in the blank. Fun I'll let that sit there. See if you can figure out the other two words. Only in Louisiana. Talk amongst yourselves. We drink coffee. We talk. No big whoop. Hello. Come on in.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm hearing you through my headphones and seeing you in real life.
Oh. I'm burning the candle at both ends.
Damn right.
This week.
The only way to roll.
Yes. You can never have too many radio jobs.
Mm-mm.
What you got going on this weekend?
Basketball and a crawfish boil tomorrow. We're doing a big fundraiser over at Our Lady of Mercy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the fundraiser's for our ACTS ministry. ACTS stands for Adoration, Community, Theology, and Service. It is this great group of dudes. And there's women, it's separate. Men's and women's retreats are separate. But it's really pumped a lot of life back into the whole church parish.
Yeah.
Very, yeah. So we hold the crawfish boil. Oh, yeah. We hold the crawfish boil to help pay for people. The retreat costs more than we charge for it. So this is kind of to pick up the tab to make sure people can afford to go.
Yeah.
So, okay. I did not get to the gym yesterday, which means I have not listened to the episode yet.
How did you say that? No, that's fine. It's we can talk about it on the air.
Okay.
I've got a few out there. You know, we just talked about Garth Brooks last time, but there are 3 on Jazz Fest that are already out that I can talk about.
You said one was Buddy Guy?
Yeah, that's the one that came out on Wednesday.
Okay.
And they all have a Jazz Fest tie. And since it's the second weekend of Jazz Fest,
Sweet. There's a beef spot in V Creative assigned to me.
how exciting! Don't they sponsor your show?
They sponsor Foodie Friday throughout the summer. Grilling season is so it's a 6-month run, but it's Memorial Day to Labor Day basically. So. Oh shit! Never mind.
What?
Autocorrect. It's not a beef spot. It's a Breck spot.
Oh. We can also talk about Live After 5. I'm going to do stage.
You tonight?
Yeah.
Chris LeBlanc?
Yeah. Closing it out.
So, yeah, I really wanted to go this week. It's the first Friday we don't have something, but my wife's got to do something for work, so whatever.
Yeah.
.837 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So let's hit that forecast up real quick before we welcome in our next guest. We are looking at a high of 88 degrees today. The rain that rolled through overnight is gone. So going to be sunny all weekend long. High of 88 today, high of 90 tomorrow, high of 91 on Sunday. I'm not looking at a significant chance of rain back in the forecast through next week. As of right now, next Thursday, there's about a 30% chance of rain, but this is the beginning, the inklings, the makings of what is to come for the summertime. Right now, we are at, where are we at? We are at 69 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. So, if you've listened to the show for any period of time, you know I'm a huge fan of the Only in Louisiana podcast. Welcoming in the host of that podcast, Michelle Southern. How are you?
I am well. Having me in again.
Of course.
On your show.
I laid it out there. I said every new episode. I want you in for every new episode just so we can get a sneak peek.
Sure.
So a new episode dropped on Wednesday.
Yes.
And so like full confession, I missed the gym yesterday.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
Okay, so when
I'm more sad that you missed the gym.
Well, there's that too.
Get it together, Brian.
Well, I went heavy legs on Wednesday, so I was sore. But no, throw off the gym time, and that's my time to dive into the podcast, kind of lose myself in it a little bit.
Yeah.
So tell me what I've missed out on, or tell me what I have to catch up on.
Well, and the great thing about podcasting, and in my podcast, is most of the episodes are very evergreen.
Oh, yeah.
So you can go and listen to them anytime. But no, the episode that dropped on Wednesday, and really, with the exception of the Garth Brooks episode last week, have a Jazz Fest lean. Since Jazz Fest is back in 2022, and for the first time in 2 years, and everyone is so excited. And one of the performers at Jazz Fest, who is from Louisiana, and he's very proud to be from Louisiana, is Mr. Buddy Guy, and he is from Lettsworth in Point Capee Parish.
Okay.
So this is the, I believe it's episode 19 or maybe 17. I don't know. I think it's 19.
Okay.
But anyway, so the episode first speaks to the owner of a bar room called the Rock House in Ennis, Louisiana, where Buddy Guy got his first start.
Okay.
And her name is Janine Lemoyne, and she was great. She talks about the history of the Rock House, and she tells these great stories about how, her dad and, they would have these weekend-long poker games back in the 40s. When she took it over and renovated it, she said that she had to mortar over some bullet holes in the wall, and she just talks about the incredible history behind this. She turned it into an event venue, and she talks about what led her to decide to do that and keep the history of the place alive. And I just think it's one of those hidden gems in Louisiana where Buddy Guy got his start. And she was, just talking to her and hearing the story behind that gives you just so much good Louisiana goodness.
Oh, absolutely. and that's kind of, that's it's who we are at our nature. It's always, if you're going to Louisiana, you want to hit up the hole in the wall place. Not the bullet hole in the wall, the hole in the wall place.
Right.
But that's kind of who we are. We're not the big corporate whatever. And you can go from there to Jazz Fest.
And you can. And then so in the second part of that episode, I dive into an interview that I conducted with Buddy Guy myself for Eagle, as a matter of fact, in 2018.
Oh, wow.
This was ahead of them officially declaring the Blues Highway marker in Lettsworth, in his birthplace.
I forgot about
and
that. Yeah.
he was in town for that. And actually, he was supposed to come in studio with me back in 2018 to do it, but he overslept or something, so we had to do it over the phone. And he is such a fascinating person to talk to. And of course, he's going to be performing at Jazz Fest on Sunday, so that's kind of the tie-in there. But he just talks about music, and he throws a little bit of shade at FM radio stations like the one I'm on for not playing his type of blues music. But one of the things that I pointed out when I interviewed him is how many artists that we do play on Eagle that he has directly influenced.
Yes.
I mean, from the likes of Clap. I mean, just you could go on down the line. And he's just such an incredible soul, and the pride that he has for his state, and the way he talks about how he felt about having that highway dedicated and renamed Buddy Guy Way. He's just so proud of it. He says it's the second most thing that he is proud of in his career, other than getting to play at the White House. That's what he marks, Louisiana right at number 2. He loves it here so much.
Very cool stuff. He's playing Sunday at Jazz Fest.
Yes. He's playing Sunday.
Dude eclipsed 80 a few years ago.
Yes.
Like, that's incredible.
Yes, and he is. I mean, his tour is alive and kicking. I mean, he's not stopping. I want to say that his last album was in 2018 that he put out, and he writes a lot about Louisiana, and he's just an incredible person, and he loves what he does, and he's extremely good at it. Another interesting part of my interview with him is where he talks about how he made his first guitar out of string that they had in their house to keep the mosquitoes out. They didn't have running water or air conditioning, and mostly in church they didn't have musical instruments, and so he decided to make a guitar, and that's he talks about that, and then he's self-taught. He doesn't read music,
right?
And just I don't know, just to hear him talk about it it's really cool. It's a warm and fuzzy.
So I think we're pretty far removed from there was an entire generation that could play music by ear.
Yes,
we're to the point now where that is all but gone. There are very, very few people these days that can play music that didn't start off with ridiculous amounts of music lessons as a child.
Yeah.
Like overbearing music lessons as a child. But like my dad could play piano by ear. He took 3 lessons and hated being taught, so he just taught himself.
Yeah.
That is a lost art.
Yeah.
Now I say that to say this. Dude made his own guitar?
Yes, he made his own guitar. The first guitar he made out of mosquito string at his house that his mom had.
Who thinks to put that together, and then who can actually be successful with that?
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous.
And the level of talent the Buddy Guy has is, I mean, it's magical. He talks about his big influence being B.B. King and how he went up to Chicago after having a stint at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
He worked at LSU. As a matter of fact, when he was in town in 2018 for the Highway Marker dedication, he also honored him at LSU with a purple and gold guitar that they presented to him. So his roots are really strong, but he talks about going up to Chicago and, having B.B. King in the audience to watch him perform. And B.B. King was blown away by the music of Buddy Guy. And he talks about that, and he tells me that story, which is pretty cool, too.
It really is amazing when you step away from it and you look at something like that, something like a B.B. King, but the origin story is all the story.
Yeah.
Like who knows where these places are in Louisiana?
Yeah.
On a global stage.
Right.
You don't know these things. It's all the 1 in a million shots.
And to go to the background of the Rock House, too, another thing Miss Janine was telling me is that, the more people that go and discover it, the more people keep coming back. Like for wedding receptions, they host lots of different things there, and she's even going to build a chapel next to it so you can go get married in Ennis, Louisiana. And we as Louisianians, we love stuff like that. Like you said, that I get to go have my wedding reception where Buddy Guy, Joe Simon got their start, and it's the Rock House, and it's all Louisiana.
So, and I'm kind of fantasizing here a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm waiting for, you talked about the weekend-long poker games and whatnot.
Yes.
I'm waiting for, like, the connection of the dots between, say, one of the Longs, Carlos Marcello,
right,
and somebody else from Louisiana playing poker in the back while Buddy Guy's playing up front.
You can just picture that.
Right? All converging
like
on this one area. Like, it just is this one little room,
No shortage of weekend-long poker games among Louisiana politicians in history, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. What else is on tap? What's coming up?
I also have a couple of other Jazz Fest episodes, too. One of them talking about crawfish bread. Have you had crawfish bread? Now, I don't know if I would recommend listening to the crawfish bread episode while you're on the treadmill.
It can only be done at Jazz Fest. Everybody else is a cheap imitation.
Yeah, like John Ed Laborde is the gentleman from Marksville who is the crawfish bread man. And we hear the story about how he got the idea for the first time to put cheese, crawfish into a loaf of French bread, how hard it was for him to get into Jazz Fest to begin with. He kept getting rejected because they really wanted the food item to be Louisiana and all about Louisiana. So he actually had to write an essay before they finally accepted him in. And now he went from that to booth 1. People wait in line at the gates of Jazz Fest when it opens, and as soon as the gates open, they race to the crawfish bread bread. I mean, that's like the first thing that people do, and it's a tradition. And so to go from that to where they are now, he also talks about how they, survived over COVID and not having Jazz Fest for 2 years because it's such a big part of, how they earn income all the time.
Yeah.
And just really ramping up their shipping business. So you can have crawfish bread shipped to you, and it's for, they what he called it, flash freezed it or something, and you put it in the oven and it tastes exactly like you would have it at Jazz Fest. But it doesn't mean have it at Jazz Fest.
You get to the crawfish bread before you get to the music.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. And
Yeah.
no, I'm right there with you. And if you get crawfish bread anywhere else outside of Jazz Fest, it's normally like, oh, we have the French bread, we cut it in half, we slap some crawfish sauce on top of it. No. That's not what this is. This is a unique experience. It's different.
Yeah, it really is delicious. Then another episode that I did on kind of one of those, stories of Jazz Fest that you don't hear all the time is I interviewed the woman who makes all of the Jazz Fest signs. Her name is Nan Peretti. You know how Jazz Fest just has that signature look?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this woman hand writes all of those signs. And it started off as they just asked her to do some no parking signs, or because we all know parking at Jazz Fest is not easy. And she now does, I think she wanted to say about 3,000 signs for the festival every year. And she's an incredible person.
All right, I got to ask you about that a little more off the air. But,
Okay.
we got 60 seconds left.
Okay,
so
sorry.
No. This is going to be a side note. We got 60 seconds left. Recap of last week. Have you spoken with the guys that came to town? Or are they?
No, I just texted him after the show, and I said, "Did you guys love it?" Talking about the Dublin guys, we hung out that day, and I took a selfie with them, and he was they had a great time. What a great concert!
I missed them. I was walking back in the building as they were walking out, and then it hit me like as I got up the stairs. I'm like, wait, one of those dudes had a tripod. That was the crew that was in. And they were already on their way out.
Yeah,
so.
we took a selfie. It's on the Only in Louisiana Facebook page if you want to check it out.
Awesome stuff. The Only in Louisiana podcast is available right now. She's Michelle Southern. Always appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We got to check your money now. Coming back, we're going to close it out next, right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Peretti.
Yeah.
As in Peretti Jaguar?
I think I don't know if she's related to the Peretti Jaguar people.
P-A-R-E-T-T-I?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
She kind of made a joke about that, too.
Well, because I grew up with the Perettis. Sort of.
P-A-I-R. Oh, I have her on my phone, duh. P-A-R-A-T-I.
Okay, that's different spelling.
Yeah. But she was great. All right, well, thank you.
No, thank you. So, we didn't mention... Kill the mics for a second. All right, I gotta get back in the. Think about the visual of that, right? You got the poker game going on in the back room, very speakeasy style, and then you got Buddy Guy playing up front at the same time. Buddy Guy's amazing. Love him and his family. Oh, wait. Earlier, I said what could go on that extra space of land. I gave you the first word was fun. Troy nailed it. Funfair Park. Bring back Funfair Park as the third leg. Greenwood Zoo, Funfair Park. No. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, Buddy Guy's like ridiculously awesome. Hi. Nope. Oh, I just got the email. Do I want to book a two-way interview with CBS News? Hmm. Ooh. What up, Taylor? Oh man, I got in the car yesterday. So about 3 weeks ago, some asshole ran me off the road. He was in the opposite lane. He had crossed the center line. I was on Sharp approaching Old Hammond, a Sharp moving south approaching Old Hammond, where it turns into Cedar Crest. Well, as you come across one of those curves, you get this big drop off on the right side, and I got run off the road and bottomed out the car. Well, since then, my air conditioner hasn't worked. Yesterday was intolerable, so I'm going to get it fixed today. .856, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane. But to close it out over here, get out of here for the weekend. Should have a great weekend in store. Going to be a warm one this weekend. High of 90 tomorrow, high of 91 on Sunday. But that rain that rolled through last night is definitely gonzo. Hey, thanks to everybody who hopped on board today. Haggai Davison for a cup of tech gumbo. Great conversation with Haggai about everything from a space hotel to Google telling us they're not going to track our personal info to how do you pick your favorite baseball team. I always love that one. Talking Major League Baseball, obviously not LSU stuff. But everybody picked their baseball team. Like throughout the 80s and 90s, which was when I was growing up, you either like the Astros because of the proximity, because your family would make a trip to Astro World every year, right? Or you like the Braves or the Cubs. That's just how everybody was raised around here. We got to talking about baseball because of what the Mets did last night. And what the Mets did last night was just a true example of why baseball will never go away. Baseball can do everything they want to hurt themselves, to kill themselves in the public eye, to make themselves irrelevant on a day-to-day basis. But the Mets put up a 7-run top of the ninth last night to beat the Phillies. They were trailing 7-1 heading into the ninth. I mean, Aaron Nola goes 7 innings for the Phillies, gives up 3 hits and 1 run. He comes out. It's 7-1 going into the ninth. It's all good, right? No. The Mets batted around. The Mets did what they had to do, and they ended up winning 8-7. So good. But it's moments like that. It's those sorts of rallies that will make sure that the sport never dies. They can tinker with the time of the game and have a pitch clock and every other thing else that they want to do that to manufacture a change in the game. They can adjust the height of the mound, the seams on the ball, all of it. At the end of the day, stories like what happened last night are what's going to keep the game around forever. Crap. I was supposed to be talking about hurricane preparedness week here, and I've only got a minute left. So this week is National Hurricane Preparedness Week. Hurricane season is less than a month away. It begins on June 1st. What should you be doing during Hurricane Preparedness Week? I think we're going to take Monday and or Tuesday and have some fun with this one. I think we're going to take, you know what, maybe we can make this a whole, like, an on-air segment, not just a YouTube segment. But I want to know all the off-the-beaten-path things, the things you're not thinking of that should be part of your Hurricane Preparedness Week. Like, knowing your evacuation routes is listed. Making sure you have batteries for all your flashlights is listed. I want the fun stuff. Let's you know what? I'm putting this down. Save this one. Next week. All right. That's it. We got to get out of here. Not enough time to dive into it right now. So we'll have some fun with that next week. We got a lot more fun coming your way next week as well. Right now, we've got to make way for the Fox News Rundown and then the Brian Kilmeade Show right here on Talk 107.3. All right, YouTube. Attorney General Jeff Landry's office puts out the press release because hurricane preparedness is the Attorney General's job. This week is National Hurricane Preparedness Week, and Attorney General Jeff Landry is encouraging Louisiana citizens to use this time to get ready for any upcoming storms. Our neighbors, unfortunately, know all too well how dangerous and destructive hurricanes can be, said Jeff Landry. While too many are still recovering from previous hurricanes, we must all be vigilant in the 2022 season, which runs from June through November. This week is a great time to get prepared, develop a plan, check insurance, and assemble supplies. Residents are encouraged to become familiar with the evacuation routes as well as shelter locations. Keep important documents together in a safe place and consider saving digital copies on a password-protected USB flash drive. Review insurance policies and make sure you have enough coverage. Stock up on necessary supplies and keep in mind each family member's specific needs, including the needs of pets. And develop a communications plan with family members for when power is lost. Remember that texting might be more reliable and faster than phone calls during storms. It's a good starting point. Where do we go from there? By the way, a couple of things the AG might have wanted to include on his list. Who are you calling for repairs after a storm? Know that before the storm. Before, Joe Blow contractor rolls into town with a magnet on his truck, if that, and bilks you out of an $800 down payment. Yeah, your insurance stuff is very, very important, but AG's role here is going to be what happens after the storm when the fraud rolls in. Any hoosers. I got to get out of here, y'all. I'm going to get my AC fixed. I will see you Monday.